Welcome back to the Top 6 show. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. Brilliant panel for you today. The wonderful, the lovely, the beautiful Kate is here with us. We've got that Scouse rat over there as well. I'm not happy with him after smiling throughout the whole show yesterday. Now, big up yourself, Tom. We've got man like David in the house. Nice t-shirt. Like it, bro. I like it a lot. We've got Henry right here. Oh, my God. He's back with us again. And man like Don is here repping the best color in football as well with that red t-shirt. Loving it, bro. Loving it. How are you all? You're all good? You're all well?
Very good. Thanks.
Good, man.
I mean, it's the international break, but apart from that, I think we're all good, aren't we?
There we go. We're going to start with Man United. Obviously, we had a big match reaction on things yesterday, but a big article has come out from a leading journalist in the Netherlands who has stated that despite getting a new deal, despite being offered what was the new deal, says following the latest defeat, questions surrounding Ten Hag's tenure have surfaced, and there seems to be more pressing than ever. Prominent Dutch journalist has stated that he strongly claimed that Ten Hag's time at Manchester United is over and coming to an end. He says his time at United is over, indicating that the 54-year-old's position at the club might come to an end sooner rather than later. So this isn't coming from the UK press. This is coming from the Dutch press that state that his time at Manchester United is coming to an end. And throwing it out to the panel to begin with, and it's come from a fairly credible source in the Netherlands as well, could you blame Man United's board for looking at what happened yesterday and saying, do you know what? We've made a mistake in keeping you. We need to move you on. Would anybody be shocked if Ten Hag was dismissed during this international break?
No.
I just don't get why they gave him the money. I don't get why they gave... You wanted to get rid of him before an FA Cup final, and he won it. Fair enough. But you wanted to get rid of him, and one FA Cup does not undo an entire season of what you saw. But you give him a new deal and give him 200 million quid for a manager that was massively under pressure, and from the outside looking in, if you're bringing in Ruud van Nistelrooy, who was a manager winning stuff in Holland beforehand, if you bring him in to be the assistant coach, that to me is almost like, yeah, we'll give you the chance, Eric, but we've got our insurance policy for when this goes wrong. When this goes wrong, we don't need to go and panic for the whole 3-4 weeks mid-season trying to find someone. We just give it your assistant, and we can get the goodwill back there. I don't think the board really wanted to keep him, and I get that. But then spending the 200 million quid on these players, and maybe they weren't his, but it doesn't help the narrative when a lot of them have previous connections to him, i.e. XIX, and then you're watching the way that he's playing, and it's still the same problems that have been there from season one. But you're 600 million worse off.
I agree with a large part of what you said, other than the fact why spend that money. I don't think they are his signings. I think they're club signings. I believe and trust in the medium to long-term ambitions of Ineos. Were we wrong to keep him? I did a bit of research earlier on today, and I looked at when Liverpool's FSG takeover happened, Chelsea's with Roman, City's, and there was one other one I looked at as well. All of those clubs kept for anywhere between 5 months to a year the manager they inherited at the club. They all did it. Every single one of them did the same thing. So although I would have personally preferred Ten Hag to have lost his job, it isn't rare for that to happen. It isn't unheard of is what I'm looking for. So for me, it was about, you know what, we are going to give you an opportunity, because I think what's happened is internally and externally, because a lot of fans said this, he just needs a structure to work with. We know we've got a decent structure in terms of the people running our club now. Their CVs speak volumes. All Man United fans have been happy with the summer. First 2 games, I saw areas of improvement. The first time we come under real stress, it was like last year. And that, for me, the stress test, it wasn't even, forget the players for a moment. The way he was talking after the game yesterday about Harry Potter, about a journalist legitimately challenged his tactics, saying you can see too many chances. Your defenders are always left with a numerical disadvantage because of how your midfielders push up. He literally listed the problems, and the manager said, well, how can those problems exist when we've won an FA Cup? That for me,
it's shameless.
Is shameless. Sorry,
it's
Dom.
beyond shameless, Terry. I was going to say, bro, this is what I was saying about United in terms of when I'm watching you guys this season, bro. In the first few games against Fulham and Brighton, the main difference that I saw is that you were pressing from the front and your creativity went up in comparison to last season. You look like you were actually creating a few more clear-cut chances. But what I also said is on the transition, I was seeing Fulham getting in dangerous areas consistently. Same thing as Brighton as well. They were getting in dangerous areas, but they didn't have that quality. They had Iwobi running at Dalot, and they had Traore running at whoever it was that was playing left back that day. Yeah, Mazraoui might have been him, right? I said when you face better quality, they are gonna punish you, and that's exactly what Liverpool did yesterday, right? They were not getting themselves in good areas, bro. Salah, go. Diaz, go. That's the difference, bro. Yeah. So it's not good enough that 3 years later, there's been barely any improvements, bro. Barely any improvements. If you watch United in the first year, when Rashford did what he did, yeah, defensively you were very good with Varane. De Gea was keeping some good clean sheets and that. But when you actually looked at the attack and the fluidity of the games, a lot of the time Rashford was bailing you out, bro. And then towards the end of the season, Terry, if you remember, Rashford started to go down. He stopped bagging, bro. He stopped bagging at the same rate that he was earlier on in the season, right? And those red flags followed into this following season because he wasn't that good last year. And now he just looks like a complete shadow of himself. You know what I'm trying to say? So, boy, it's only going to get worse before it gets better with Ten Hag.
And this is do you know where I agree with you is this? I mean, we know that Man United are doing things differently. Arne Slot literally spoke about it in his pre-match interview, that there have been changes. Mm-hmm. The bit that annoyed me the most yesterday is when the manager says, I'm not Harry Potter, I'm not a wizard. What do you expect me to do? Well, I expect you to do what Slot did. You see what someone's doing and you create a plan to counteract it. And if your plan gets counteracted, you fucking react and change something. But he isn't. And that's why, as much as I've calmed down since the game, what Casemiro did yesterday was awful. I did see some ex-Liverpool player on Sky Sports say he was the same as Mainoo's. It wasn't. Mainoo got given the ball when he was surrounded by 4 players and he had no outlets and he got barged in the back off the ball. Both of Casemiro's, he could see everything in front of him and he put himself into danger. So let's not compare the two. However, I have sympathy for the players because if you look when Mainoo gets the ball, the other 2 midfielders by design are basically where strikers and inside forwards should be, and there's a huge gap again. And this is everything. We made changes in the summer. I saw them. I got excited and hoped they would bed in. I saw changes in the first games and problems. I called them out. Let's see what happens. We go into the Liverpool game. The pressure was on, and we collapsed. And listening to the manager talk afterward, basically saying, our tactics are fine. There's no issue. That should be a red flag to Ineos, a red flag to Dan Ashworth of this man don't see the problems. This person isn't seeing the issues in the team. And it'll get worse. It will get worse, I'm telling you.
It's a systemic problem as well. You've got better players and you don't look better. Like De Ligt is far better than Harry Maguire. Mazraoui's been far better than whatever makeshift left back you were trying to put in last year. But even still, defensively, you don't look better at all. Obviously, when Ugarte comes in, it'll be interesting. But I think if Ugarte gets stranded in the same positions that Casemiro does yesterday, or Mainoo gets stranded in yesterday, the results the same. I don't see what player could come in and change the result of yesterday. And that's how you know it's a manager problem.
It's a lot of pressure on Ugarte as well. Like, that's an awful lot of pressure. If you look at Liverpool with Arne Slot, they've had 3 matches, and Brighton with Fabian, is it Hertzler? Is that how you pronounce it? Mm-hmm. You can only see in 3 games patterns of play, a style of play, how good they are in the transition. This is Ten Hag's 3rd season, and they don't look any different.
Season 3, bro. Yeah,
they don't look any different from the first season. And like David just said, with better personnel. Like, does anyone seriously think if you take Casemiro out and you put Ugarte in, there's going to be a massive difference?
Nope.
No, I don't either. And I agree. I've said this to so many Man United fans. Don't act like this boy is going to be our saviour. He isn't. And that's not a dig at him. It's because we're just not structured right as a team. And listen, I hope I'm bloody wrong. And I hope that I'm being knee-jerk. And I hope that I'm being reactionary. And I hope that in reality, we get Rasmus back. We get Ugarte back and we click into gear. But then we have to be honest with ourselves. We've been saying this for 2 years now. Oh, when we get this player in and we do this, we get this back. Oh, when he gets, we're going to get better. I'm now looking. I'm not even looking at Ten Hag anymore. I'm not looking at him at all. I am looking at how we react. I'm not saying we have to sack him straight away. Okay, I'm not, because you have to think about who's going to come in, what's going to be done. But I think he has a game or two to save his. I think he has a game or two to save his job, and Ineos will act. I felt all along that the reason why the likes of Ruud van Nistelrooy came in is that you have someone who knows the club, someone who has good tactics, someone that's been a manager that could step into that breach maybe for the rest of the season, maybe until January. A lot of people have already felt that. I think they've given Ten Hag an opportunity. I think they've given him players that they believe he could get the best out of. But so far, 4 games, including Community Shield, he has lost 3 of them and won 1. It isn't good enough. And a lot of people are going to say that I never reacted this quickly before to managers not starting well or not doing well. Scenario is slightly different because he's already been here a few years, which I said already. But my biggest issue before, and David and Tom are the only two that will probably remember this the most because I've been saying it for years. My issue with sacking managers was always, what's the point? What's the point of sacking a manager? If we haven't built a club structure, the new guy's going to fail anyway. Well, the structure's there now. So I don't care if we sack 3 managers a season. We are not, it isn't going to disrupt us. I honestly believe, people keep saying, oh, how Slot done it in 3 games. Slot has gone in. I know they didn't spend any money this summer, really, but Slot has gone into a well-run club that isn't toxic. The players are winners, and the mindset is amazing because of what FSG have built over a decade and a half. The reason why the new guy at Brighton's gone in and started so well is they are an amazingly well-run club with no toxicity in the dressing room, with a great structure, and every manager just comes in and takes them to another level because they're a well-run club. If you've got a structure, if you've got the right people running your club, you can change managers like this because they are not what your club is built around. I've said the same thing to Arsenal fans. Some gooners think Arsenal fall apart if Arteta leaves. Not if you've genuinely rebuilt the club, how you all say. He leaves, you get a manager of equal coaching capability, you might just get that little bit better. I actually think the reason Liverpool look a little bit better, slight changes in tactics, I think it's Slot. I think Slot's, I think you can get bored of who your manager is. I think it can become tiring. You can sometimes get better. I'm not saying get rid of Arteta, by the way. I'm using the example. So Man United fans said, oh, we've only just spent money on some more players for him. We've got to give it time. No, we don't. Yeah, maybe another game or two. If in a couple of games he hasn't fixed the holes in the midfield, if we're not scoring more goals, we have to look at moving him on. We don't need to wait around anymore. Sorry?
Who's Man United's next 3
we
league
play
games?
Southampton when we get back, which again, we should be winning.
I think you've got us as well.
Is that at home, by the way?
No, we're away to Southampton. So, but yeah, look, he's got a few games now to turn this round. I mean, it's the lack of improvement I saw yesterday was worrying, absolutely worrying. And little things. Ahmad's been our best attacker all summer, and the first 3 games drops him. I'm not blaming Rashford, but Rashford shouldn't be playing. The manager's sticking him in the team. These things are huge problems, and they have to be addressed by the people running our club. They absolutely have to be.
Another huge problem you've got with Ten Hag is his communication, bro. Yeah, I respect anyone that can speak more than one language because I can't. Yeah, but his communication isn't good enough, right? His clarity, he speaks in riddles. He doesn't answer questions. He gaslights you with what you're seeing. When the guy was literally telling him what he's been doing every week, yeah, with the amount of chances that Man United concede and that, he's laughing in his face as if the guy's dreaming it. And I'm like, bro, like this is what Poch was doing as well. That's why I say him and Poch are like cram twins, bro. They went to the same uni, them two. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're very similar, right? With Ten Hag, from time is not clear in the media, you know that those players are suffering, right? Because you need a manager to be able to be clear when they're telling you things. When you're making that run, I want you to be over there. But if you can't even get that across, like you can't communicate that across, it's going to be very clear on the pitch. And that's clear to me on the pitch that the team, there's no cohesion, right? There's no...
The players don't... Again, I don't think the players want in there either. You're looking at the posts from... I'm not saying it's right that Casemiro's missus has spoke to the press and posted things. I don't really like it. But you can tell there's an issue there. You know what I'm saying? When I look at Rashford yesterday, I don't think Rashford doesn't want to be a Man United player. I think Rashford's just broken. Now, some will say he's crap. Fair enough. If you think he's crap, you think he's crap. But that's an even bigger red flag to the manager. Why are you playing someone who's crap? That doesn't make any sense. Rashford he doesn't want to take anyone on. doesn't want to try and take anyone on.
Yeah, that was a weird one yesterday when he was 1v1 with Canate and just turned around and passed it back. I mean, yesterday to me felt like a bit of a turning point. Like the whole reason Ten Hag, not the whole reason, but one of the big reasons why he kept his job was he still had the fan support, he still had the in-stadium support. The people who went Old Trafford every other week still backed Ten Hag. But the reception he was getting for a number of things yesterday, I mean, don't we know? I think he's an absolute idiot for taking Garnacho off instead of Rashford. And Old Trafford let him know that. And I don't know if it's possible to bounce back from something like that at Old Trafford at Man United, because that yesterday felt like a lot of fans who were sort of on the fence then went, "Nah, what are we doing here? Why have we done this?" Because it's not like everyone this summer was going, "Oh, the managerial market's not that great." We've picked up a really good manager. Brighton have picked up a really good manager. If you look hard enough, if you identify what you need, if you identify what you want to go with, you'll find the right guy. And I just feel like maybe the United right guy was at the Euros managing England. Maybe their right guy was somewhere else. Who knows? But I didn't think it was the correct decision to keep him on. And it just seems like that's being validated now. And when you listen to him and some of the stuff he's saying, comparing that to what Arne Slot said, I mean, I found it really funny that Arne Slot's post-match interview was just spending a minute and a half breaking down Manchester United for everyone.
No, I agree completely. And look, to play devil's advocate, and listen, Ineos may have looked at this. We're never going to know this until later on down the line. Maybe Ineos looked at it and went, look, there's a lot of players in this club who have a lot of time, love, and respect for Ten Hag. If we just get rid of him without giving him a chance in the structure, that can create mutiny, that can create problems because there is good relationships. Maybe we have to give him an opportunity. That happens in a lot of industries and in a lot of workplaces as well when new people come in. There's an element there of almost, well, let's just give the manager enough rope to hang himself with. And the manager has come out and said it's less chaotic. There's great feedback. It's never been like this since I've been here. It's amazing working in the environment. He's come out and said all this, and I believe it is. I just felt that what's the annoying thing is sometimes in life when you don't want to be right. And I said all along, I think a rebuild is quicker and easier with the new manager. I think yesterday was just a piece of proof that may be true. And I still hope I'm wrong. I have no desire to be right. I want to be wrong. I want Ten Hag I would love him to stay, come back, and we go from strength to strength from here and become a powerhouse over the next 3 years and him leading the way, winning more trophies. I swear on my children that I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right. But I have a horrible gut feeling that keeping him, it may not be a mistake overall. Maybe there's internal matters why we did it, but I just feel that I just don't think he's going to he is not going to be able to coach us into being a much better football team. And I always stand by this. I don't think we have as bad of players as our performances make it look like we have. I just don't think we do.
Your biggest sign is that 2 weeks in a row, you've lost to new managers in the Prem. He's been managing here for 3 years. They've only just
I agree.
And they out-coached him, both of them.
No, I agree. I agree completely. But I also think so much of that is in his head. I actually think as well he'll leave, go somewhere else and be a good manager. I do. I don't think he's
buying.
Yeah, but I don't see that he's terrible. It just hasn't happened. And again, maybe you younger ones don't know what it's like because you haven't been in the work environment that long yet. Kate's probably been where I'm about to say. Sometimes you can work in a department or for a company and you mess up, or things go wrong, or you have an argument with somebody. And don't matter how much patching up you do, you can never get rid of it. And it isn't until you change departments or get a new job that you almost feel light again and refreshed, like I can reinvent myself again. We've all been there at some point in our careers. And I think Ten Hag is in that position where he probably should go for himself as well. It ain't even the result. I'm just talking about purely what he said afterwards. That is not the sign of someone who is confident in themselves. It just isn't. The fact it's crazy. A few people asking where this news coming from. This news about him potentially losing his job comes from a leading journalist and column in the Netherlands. States that his time at Manchester United is over. It says the weekend loss to Liverpool, managed by Ten Hag's compatriot Arne Slot, added to the mounting pressure against him. So this is his homeland press that are reporting on this as well, who typically have had his back in these arguments as well. Typically speaking, have had the arguments a bit had his back when it's come to these situations. But in terms of Liverpool did look really good yesterday and did their bits. We're going to come on to them a little bit later, but I wanted to touch on Chelsea while Don is still here with us. They obviously started very well yesterday, almost like the complete opposite to the Wolves game. You started well, you took the lead, I think you looked really comfortable at home. Good performance in the middle again. Madueke looking dangerous. Second half, it was very similar to last season where the midfield couldn't get hold of the ball. You leaked lots of opportunities. And then right at the end, maybe the celebration kind of come back to haunt him a little bit. Jackson misses 2 really big chances to win you the game. What was your overarching thoughts on Chelsea's performance yesterday?
Yeah, bro, it was a game of 2 halves, right? And this time around, it wasn't good because obviously against Wolves, it was a very good performance in the second half. But, bro, the first half, like you're saying, we controlled the game. You know, Palace didn't do anything to Sanchez, in all honesty. We had some very good chances, bro. Madueke had 2 good chances that he should have been burying in reality. You had Cole Palmer had a chance as well. So I was looking at the game. Obviously, Jackson scored, and I was comfortable. I said, yo, we need to go into the second half now and make sure that we actually score quite quickly, because one thing about us, we don't like 1-0 leads, Terry. We don't know how to manage the game and just see out a 1-0 lead. We're just not at that level yet, you know. And before you know it, you know, the same sort of pattern I'm seeing in that little hole there, just outside the 6-yard box. The amount of goals I've seen where the attacker just shoots from there and scores is not a coincidence anymore. It keeps happening, bro. Right? Eze's done it. The guy that plays for the guy that's captain for Burnley, he did it against us last season. There's been a couple players that I've just shot from outside there and it's gone in because no one's really pressing them, you know. So for me, Maresca's got to sort that out because the balance right now in that midfield at times can be off. You know, people look at Enzo Fernandez, some people look at Caicedo. He still hasn't worked out, you know, that partnership at the moment. Obviously, we're missing Lavia, who's a big player for us. Massive miss because we can all see what he brings to the team, you know. But they really need to sort that out because we can't be having one half where we're controlling the game and the next half it looks like we've forgotten how to play football. Like Palmer in the second half was poor. Neto was nowhere to be seen in the second half. Mudryk came on, looked a little bit sharper than him, to be fair. Madueke in the second half, non-existent. You know, Enzo was very sloppy on the ball. You know what I'm trying to say? The only 2 players I could look at yesterday, all game, that were very good was Colwill and Fofana, right? And that goes back to what I've been saying about them. I don't think they're as bad as what we've been seeing. It's all about building chemistry. And now the more that they're playing together, it seems like they're building that cohesion and that chemistry. But our attackers yesterday let us down, bro. That's what it was. We had 5 big chances. They had 0, and we scored 1 goal. It's not good enough. You know, it's not good enough. Even in the last second, Mudryk played it over the top to Jackson. Yeah, very good.
I saw a stat today that should be worrying for both you and Man United fans. Man United are massively underperforming our XG. We should have scored 5 more goals than we have. Where with yourselves, your XG is so small, but because of that Wolves game, you've overperformed it. Are you worried? Are you worried overall about the clear-cut chance creation in these games?
Well, bro, we created some very good chances yesterday. Very, very good chances, bro. There was at least 3 goals that we should have scored before the second half. And that game's completely different. Because I went into this game predicting 3-1, right? And to be honest with you, that should have been right, bro. Because we had more than enough good chances to score at least 3 goals. So we go again. Because the in-game management in the second half wasn't good enough. He took off Neto and then brought on Felix. For me, Felix is not a touchline winger. He should have done like for like, brought on Mudryk. He brings on Nkuku, plays him right wing, which for me didn't work. I'd rather play Palmer right wing and then playing Nkuku down the middle.
Do you think he's got too many options? Like, sorry to cut you off. Do you think he doesn't know what his best front line is right now? Because let's be honest, you've got so many different options you can play. It's like a selection headache constantly.
Of course, yeah. At the minute, he's obviously got a lot of players that he needs to deal with. And for me, like I said, I'd rather have gone like for like, because if you're playing against a low block Palace, 3 at the back, bro, it's hard to break them down. And Stamford Bridge is a small pitch. You need to stretch that pitch as much as you can. If you're bringing on Felix left wing, he's just going to close down the pitch. Yeah, Mudryk, like I said, when he came on, he was trying to take guys on and whipping in crosses as well. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what I wanted to see from both sides, you know? But end of the day, like I said, Maresca made mistakes in the second half and the players weren't good enough in front of goal. That was the main problem. Because defensively at the back, I thought we were good. But in the midfield, you know, in the second half, it was poor. It was poor. You know, I'm seeing certain parts in the game when Gusto came off, Enzo was picking up the ball as a centre-back. Because at this point, he threw on all the attackers, which I didn't mind, in all honesty, because Palace, they were just sitting back and saying, come break us down. And what's good for me, Terry, is the fact that even though they had a low block, we still created some good chances to win the game. It was all about our finishing. That was the main problem. It was our finishing, bro.
Exactly.
John, what did you think about the Will Hughes foul on Palmer? Do you think he should have gone?
Of course. You can't get turned like that, Kate, and then pull a man back, and the ref says no more. No, you gotta get sent off for that. And that's not the reason why we didn't win the game, because we should have.
No, but they took him off, bought Decorio, and the game changed.
Exactly.
Decorio was really good. Yeah.
He was very good when he came on, you know. And I don't want to be talking about these things because our performance overall wasn't good enough. But you can't ignore that. That should have been a second yellow card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
I don't think that Chelsea can necessarily be shocked when these type of results happen with a guy like Nicholas Jackson up front, in the same way that we can't be shocked when we drop points when Nunes is up front. These guys aren't finishers. They will cost you games. I look at Nkunku, and Nkunku's a golden boot winner in the Bundesliga. And now I know that Jackson has good link up and he can hold up the ball. But if you're playing with a effective 3-man attack behind the striker, you shouldn't really need to hold up the ball, because you've got you covered all in that spacing behind him. He should just be focused on getting in the right positions to score the goals. And Nkunku's a very good finisher. You don't win golden boots if you're not doing that. And to see him, I just think he's been mismanaged by Maresca so far in the Premier League game. God knows I haven't tried to watch a Serviette games, but
they were good games. I actually enjoyed them end to end. They were great. They were great games of football for a neutral to watch. People should watch it. It was really good.
But in the first game, he was out on the left wing. Then in this one, he was out on the right wing. He's a guy who needs to be in the middle, if not up front.
He's a victim of playing well in pre-season in multiple positions. If he didn't play well anywhere apart from centrally, he would only play centrally. But because in pre-season he was doing well, Maresca was in interviews saying, "Oh, he's intelligent. He can play on the left, he can play on the right. He can do what I need him to do." So like, it's kind of expected. But obviously, it's his third game. So if he mismanages someone, I'm not going to be shocked. This is one thing that I get it. Like, obviously we've got to talk about it, but I'm not shocked that it's happened. You know what it was? In the second half, like I said, he threw on all the attackers, right? And obviously with Palmer last game got a hat-trick of assists, and in the first half he assisted for Jackson as well. He was probably thinking, I need Palmer as close to Jackson as possible because they have a good relationship. That's why I'm going to play Nkunku on the right. But for me, Nkunku can still create. Maybe not as good as Palmer, but if you play him behind Jackson, I think they can have a good link up between them, bro.
If I was Chelsea manager, I would be trying to. Neto's got to go out on the left, because if Cucurella's inverted, you need someone out on the left to hold width, and Neto is one of the best.
Wasn't inverted.
He wasn't inverted. I think that's how you get the best out of him, getting him into those areas. So Neto out on your left. I think Palmer needs to go out on the right to operate in the half spaces, right? Because I think that's where teams can get hurt most, and you want your most dangerous players in those positions. And I think that you need to experiment with a Felix and Nkunku duo, where because they both play a similar role, they should have a good enough understanding that when one goes, one stays, and rotate around the other way.
That's going to be a headache, bro, because if you're inverting someone, what's going to happen is, for example, let's say you invert Cucurella, he'll run back, when we lose the ball, and Nkunku and Felix, bro, to come back and help as a pivot, that's a headache in itself. That's why he's been playing Caicedo or like a Lavia, so they can actually do something in that role, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Tom's saying he should play. You should play Nkunku and Nkunku and Felix as a 10 and a 9.
Yeah. If you're defending in a 4-2-4, they're your two guys at the spearhead of your 4-2-4.
Oh, bro, listen. I don't like Nkunku as a 9. I'll be honest with you. It makes it very easy for the defenders. They just push up because he doesn't really stretch the pitch. He wants to be on the ball, so he wants the ball feet every single time, bro.
Play him in a 10 then.
Doesn't run the channels like Jackson or even Gil, right? That's the problem with playing Nkunku up top. Yes, his finishing is better than all of them, right? One of the best finishers in the team, but it's very easy to mark him when he's playing up top. That's the problem I've got with him playing as a 9.
So that's why you play two of them. It's easy to pick one up, and especially I felt at times last year when he was up front in the limited time he got, because he would have Conor Gallagher behind him, and Gallagher's not a smart footballer in that sense. He can't draw markers away. If you're playing Felix and Nkunku, they're two players marvelled for their game IQ.
What formation is that? What do you mean? What, like a 4-2-3?
No,
yeah.
the same formation we're playing, but you're playing instead of put Palmer on the right, and then
Palmer instead of Madueke,
and then
Nkunku instead of Palmer's position, then Felix up top, or the other way around if you want.
4-2-3-1 then is what you're asking for, a pivot and a 10.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Look, it all depends, innit? For me, listen, you're moving Palmer to the right. For me, he's best centrally. You know, you're taking away the direct wingers that Maresca likes on both sides. I'd rather see someone that's running at their man on that side. That's why I like Madueke on the right. You know, I'd rather see Neto running at their man. I don't want to see Palmer touchline, bro.
What's going to happen when Reece James comes back? Because I feel like to get the most out of Reece James, you kind of effectively want to give him the right-hand side. And you don't really want guys getting in the way there, because you want Reece James to be sort of bullying that entire right-hand side of the pitch and having it on his own. Yeah. If you've got Madueke playing there, Madueke is just going to kind of get in Reece James's way.
You'll start right back. You'll start right back.
Yeah, so when you're attacking and Reece James is bombing forwards and Palmer's on the right, Palmer can tuck inside, and then all of a sudden you've got all the zones you want covered. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you play Madueke and Reece James, I feel like they're both going to try and occupy similar positions until Madueke gets the ball. That's when he'll come inside. I don't think Madueke can operate it centrally enough to get the most out of Reece James. If you're playing Gusto, it's okay, because Gusto isn't necessarily bombing on as much. That's not necessarily the point of his game he's after. But if you're bringing Reece James back in, I feel like Palmer on the right is probably the best bet to fit everyone in and to maximise the most out of everyone. Because Palmer's a good enough player to do both. You
do make a good point. If you do play Reece James there with Palmer, then obviously Palmer can be getting the ball and then Reece making the overlaps. You play him in behind. Palmer gets back into the right half space. That does make sense, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? But I don't see Maresca prioritizing Palmer on the right. I think he's going to prioritize him centrally. That's the main focus. For me, he's the best creator on our team. So I like him down the middle, man. Do you know what's interesting about it? And again, I'm just throwing this out there to play devil's advocate. Palmer is your best attacker. But maybe there's the problem that you've got. I'm not saying the best attack you could have doesn't have Palmer in it. I'm not trying to make it sound like that. But in terms of making it the most cohesive and most gelled, there is going to be a casualty or two. There may be a player that you say, well, he's our first best or second best attacker. But actually, to make the chemistry work, maybe there's got to be a sacrifice somewhere. That's the one thing about the kind of you got Sancho to add into this mix as well now as an example. I mean, there's reports today that you guys offered Mykhailo Mudryk to Arsenal on deadline day, which tells me that, again, he's right down the pecking order now. Sancho's come in, the same as Sterling was. So I'm intrigued. Apparently, that's what Fabrizio. Yeah, I agree. I think he's. I mean, I remember Ches saying in the group chat he'll be a good backup for Mudryk. He's never going to be a backup to Mudryk. He's better. Sancho's little. Mudryk's. Yeah, when he's injured, he's better than Mudryk. Like, Don, you're better than Mudryk. You are better than Mudryk. You do better. I've seen videos of you play. You would do better in the Premier League than Mykhailo Mudryk. You would. Bro, I'm not even joking. I might have more brain than Mudryk, yeah, but
he is worse than Bebe at Man United. Genuinely, He's worse.
This is the irony of it. Yeah, we played on some B&M fake like pitch the other day. Yeah, you know the grass you get from B&M and Argos and that. That's what they put down when we played Servette. Yeah, Hackney Marshes, Mudryk. Yeah. Was him and Nkunku were our two best players against Servette in a pitch that shouldn't be played on by professionals earning this much money, bro. Right? You put him on carpet. There's times he runs off as if he's never played football in his life. You know what I'm trying to say? He's up and down, bro. He's up and down. But I'll be honest. Last game, he was one of our better players, and against Servette, he was one of our better players that game as well, bro.
I think you know what you've got when it comes to Mykhailo Mudryk, Don. You've kind of got. I get it, because we all have players at our clubs like this. I had it with a player we had once upon a time called Obertan. I
remember him. He went Newcastle, innit?
He was Pup, but I had so much hope he would turn into a good player. I would hold on to any little good thing that he did.
Oh, Terry, it's
the problem is with Mudryk. Mudryk can have some good runs. He'll do some good flicks, and then he'll cut inside for a shot, and he literally kills seagulls. Like,
I know.
mad every time.
I know. bro.
And
I
when I
know,
look
but
at your team
yesterday-
now, you've got Sancho light years ahead of him, Pedro light years ahead, Palmer. I'm not even doing a comparison. Every other attacker you've got is light years better than Mihailo Mudryk. He's just not going to get a chance to kick a ball. All I'm saying is that I don't know the answer to Chelsea's attacking solution, but be prepared for a player or two that you all like to be sacrificed, because that's normally what happens. I wanted to ask about the midfield as well. A lot of stick from Chelsea fans in our chat yesterday that Enzo doesn't do enough. Enzo went missing in the second half again. Henry, do you think this is a problem for Chelsea, that they can't seem to get a 90-minute consistent game out of their £250,000 midfield? £250 million.
Yeah, I think you're seeing like moments where individually they all look really good. Like Lavia has certainly showed that. Enzo Fernandez, I don't really know how the Chelsea are going to get a tuna out of, like, what the best combination is to get something out of Fernandez. And then you look at Caicedo, he's playing different positions. Dewsbury Hall, how's he going to fit in? Like, I think Maresca's got the biggest selection headache of any manager in the Premier League right now. It's like, other than 2 or 3 positions in that team, you could change 11 on a weekly basis. Like, with this midfield, I just don't see a balance. I don't see a huge balance in Tottenham's midfield either. There's a lot of teams like this. Don't see a balance in Man United's midfield. Arsenal at the moment, without Rice and Marino, who are they going to play in the next game? Like, there's a lot of teams that are in a situation like this. Your midfield against Palace, like Don said, game of 2 halves. But you look at that Palace team, Hughes in there,
Will Hughes, what?
What did you say? Sorry, you cut at him. What did you say?
I said, Will Hughes, bro. This guy came from Watford, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's not great, but I'll be honest. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think the faster, and I know Don's gonna hate you for this, I think the faster they sell Fernandez and some of them midfielders, the better they're gonna be.
I just don't. Right, I'm going to be very honest. This is a narrative that it is just a narrative, because if you watch yesterday, Enzo, he dropped a 7 out of 10.
I'm not talking about yesterday's game. I'm talking about.
I'm just saying the fact that he gets so much hate unless he drops an absolute 10 out of 10. If we are going to hold Enzo to, because you are 100 mil every single game, you have to be 10 out of 10. That's fine, but every single 100 mil guy's got to get the same energy.
I agree, and I don't think that's fair.
Because literally, no matter what he does, he can't win. Yesterday, he delivered a pass that should have been a goal. It should have been a direct. Like,
he does. You know what?
He took 5 players out of the game.
No, I get you, David. I understand you, David. But let me throw this at you from the other side. Rival fans are also going to challenge it, because there are people that have come on this show, Chelsea fans and rivals, that have said he gets into City's midfield, that have put him up there with the Rodris of this world in terms of ability. So when you're spoken up, like, forget the £100 million price tag, when you get spoke up in that way, people will come for you. I think Enzo does great things in games, and that pass was excellent. The problem is, when you needed, and it wasn't just him and Caicedo, you needed them to control the midfield in that second half. They couldn't do it against Will Hughes, Decore, and whoever the other guy was. I forget. Wharton, who's very, very good. And sometimes it's about the simple things that you do, the positioning that you find yourselves in. And I think when you cost that amount of money, there's always going to be that kind of scrutiny on you. And a 7 out of 10 performance isn't the end of the world. I agree. The problem that you've got is, unlike other top-class midfield players, rarely are you getting those 9s and 10s. You got it in the second half against Wolves. It was amazing, and I praised him. But for the 7s to be okay, you need lots of 8.5s, lots of 9s, lots of 10s. Exactly. When you're bigged up like him. And this isn't. I don't think he's a crap football player. I just don't think he's even not as good as people talk him up to be, or the Premier League ain't for him. It's one of those two things.
I think he's just suffering from the fact he hasn't been in a stable system in his whole Chelsea career.
That's fair.
I think that's I genuinely think if you whacked him into Man City or Arsenal, you'd see a completely different player who's consistent. Why? Because whenever he goes to Argentina and he's playing in the same system he's been playing in since the new managers come in before the World Cup, he's performed. And Argentina fans will tell you he's a very, very good player. I genuinely think as long as he can be in a system where he's somewhere for 2 years, 3 years, where the manager don't change, you'll see a better Enzo. That's my opinion.
Let me ask you something. Do you think he has 2 or 3 years left at Chelsea?
I personally think so. I am sounding KJ. You're so right. I understand the podcast. I get it now. I actually do because it just feels like no matter what he does, people are just wait.
I wasn't scapegoating, by the way. I'm just saying
one misplaced pass. He's on the feed. He's on this. He's on that. Enzo can't ball. He can't do this. He can't do that. When he wins a World Cup, when he wins a Copa America, it's quiet. I don't hear anything.
David, CB was trying to tell me Enzo was shit against Wolves.
No, do you know what's so funny as well? We obviously like we scored 6 goals against Wolves. I thought we played better overall yesterday than we did against Wolves. But because we scored 6 goals, it clouded the thing. But when you look at the chances we created, the football we played, I felt as a performance,
David,
as an overall performance.
Are you bugging? What do you mean?
No.
It wasn't.
No. In terms, Terry.
I think you mean the whole game.
If you have 6 shots in a game and you score 6 goals, and then the week after you have 20 shots and you create double the amount of expected goals, because that's what I've always backed expected goals. If you create double the amount of expected goals, concede 0.5 in XG, but then you only score one of those chances, the players themselves haven't performed better. But in terms of like the system and how it's working, I thought yesterday was a better systematically was better than what it was on the week before.
I do understand that logic to a certain extent, but equally finishing your chances is part
obviously
of
finishing your chances,
missing chances, and they're really important parts.
I'm talking about just systematically.
Yeah, no, and I can get that. If you equal it out, what I would say is your second half performance against Wolves was the best I've seen Chelsea play in 2 years. It was phenomenal.
It was.
And for me, yesterday it was the wrong way. Yesterday reminded me more of last season with Poch. You went in at half time and came out and it was a different team. And again, you guys are going into your 3rd year of your rebuild. I know it's a new manager, but I'm keeping the same energy as you as I have for Man United rebuild, right? You're in your 3rd year of the rebuild. Yes, it is a new manager. You've had a type of player that you've been signing. The manager has bought into the ethos and what you're trying to do. Those second half performances have got to improve. And I would still be, listen, I don't think Caicedo's the issue. I think that when Enzo plays well, you get an even better Caicedo. Caicedo can play well. I think Enzo is a problem for him. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't think he's a bad football player. He just ghosts too much in games and becomes a little bit invisible at times, in my opinion. And I'm intrigued to see who else is going to get. And this is where, after the international break, I think we're all going to get more answers about our teams because the cup games begin and rotation happens. We haven't seen Dewsbury Hall in a sort of central midfield role yet for you. We need to kind of see more of these selections so people have a chance to fight for their positions. But yeah, like Chelsea's an interesting one. When you guys were leading and he scored again, I was watching it going, yeah, Chelsea really are going to do my prediction was you're either going to be amazing or really bad. And up until the second half, I was like, I think Chelsea are turning into a really good team. I was looking at it. I was feeling really jealous. You look really good. And then the second half, I'm watching it, objectively speaking, and I'm like, what happened to that team in the first half?
There we go. Then
crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It's a mentality issue as well, bro. It's a mentality issue that Maresca needs to sort out because these lot, because they had such an easy first half and it was sunny and it's hot. They're just like, yeah, man, we're gonna pick up 3 points, right? You haven't done anything yet as a team. You're still building this team to be that arrogant and that cocky, bro. Because all it ever takes against Chelsea is just one moment of madness, and that's it. We're 1-0 down. One moment of madness is 2-1 now. And I'm like, what the fuck happened there, bro? It's either we're chasing games, we end up coming back somehow, right? Or we concede a stupid goal. Time and time again. It's always that.
How does he
midfield there, bro?
How does he prevent that?
Midfield there, bro. It's on Maresca. It's on Maresca. He has to drill it into these guys, right? That when you're squeezing your neck on these oppositions, yeah, you need to bury your chances, bro. You need to bury your chances. If you've got to stay after training for an extra 1 hour, 2 hours to finish chances, go and do that, please. Yeah, you get paid a lot of money right? And I don't want to be watching you lot every single week, just fluffing your lines, bro, fluffing your lines, as if we haven't got to get back into Champions League, bro. It's not good enough. You know what I'm trying to say? It's a game of two halves, bro. I bigged them up last week because we came back. The second half was a shit show, bro. Yeah, it was shit. We hardly created anything. You know, we were just kind of freestyling. Players, there were so many performances that were 6 out of 10. Yeah, like I keep telling people, bro. With Enzo, he ain't got to start every single game. Yeah, CB gets rattled because he goes in spaces. Spaces is a toxic place, bro. Stay away from spaces because you're gonna get people in there telling you, "Oh, he's world class," and that. Enzo is not world class, right? And for me, he's not a guaranteed starter. Yeah, even though he's been given the captaincy and whatnot, bro, give it to someone else if he ain't got to start the game. Yeah, Enzo Fernandez can come off the bench against tired legs and use the skills that he's got in terms of creating, like he did for Madueke the other day. Or he can start certain games where you know the team's just going to sit back and he ain't got to cover as much ground.
That's right? Where I think he's going to be at the best. When you're coming off the bench, kind of not like an impact player like Trossard, but when you need more control on games,
yes,
I think that's where he'll perform. But when you're starting off immediately against a low block, knowing that Palace are dangerous on the counter, I think you're gonna have to bring someone else in.
Yeah, that's why Lavia.
Lavia's the guy. Lavia's the guy.
I think Lavia's the guy you don't drop. And I've said when we play Man United, Spurs, you know, the bigger teams, that's when we'll probably play Caicedo. When we play teams that will sit back most of the game, like Southampton or Leicester, that's when we'll play Enzo. That's what I think will happen. But
what the major problem is, David, we've loaned out Santos and we've loaned out Leslie, right? They're the two profiles that can come in for Lavia because they're very comfortable in the first phase and they're physical as well, right? Enzo in the first phase is comfortable, but bro, in terms of actually, you know, winning the ball on that, it's peak. He's even worse than Jorginho.
What about he was offered to Man United at the end of the window. What about Carney? I know he's had injury problems, but he's a very good midfielder.
He's not an
8. He's an 8, man. He's like, if you play him in a pivot in that role, I've seen him play well.
8 or a 10.
He's an 8. He's more of a. I'll probably say Carney's.
I'll say he's more a 10. I can't lie.
He's like he's an 8, man. He's a very good ball carrier, man. He picks up the ball from deep and he runs with it, bro. Like Loftus-Cheek. He reminds me of Loftus-Cheek, bro. He's an 8. I'll probably say he's an 8. No, bro, I don't know why. Well, Ruben was good at Chelsea, but I keep telling people, bro. And listen, we've got a big squad. We've got a lot of games. Enzo hasn't got to start every single game. But what jars me is like what David's saying. When Enzo puts out a decent performance, people talk as if he was so bad, right? And they just love to pick him out. Because like I said, there was so many players yesterday. I can pick out Neto. I can pick out Madueke. I can pick out Enzo. I can pick out Caicedo. I can pick out Palmer in the second half. So many of them were beyond their, like, below their best, if that makes sense, in the second half. It wasn't good enough.
Well, the weekend, though, has made me readjust my predictions that I put in the group chat the other day. Do you guys want to see them? I've redone my predictions. So this is where I can do it because it's my channel, right? So this is where I think each top member of the traditional top 6 is going to be finishing this season. So I have City winning, Arsenal coming 2nd, Liverpool in 3rd, Chelsea coming 5th, Spurs coming 8th, and right now, as it stands, Man United coming 9th. That is I think that Villa are going to get 4th. I actually don't think there's going to be this drop like people think. And 6th and 7th, I'm going to be Newcastle will be in that space. And there's another team I thought of that, not there, Brighton, will be in that space. So that's kind of what I've gone for. So people screenshot if you want. It's there ready for you all. But that's where I think the top 6 positions will be as things stand, unless there's changes, but I don't know if that's coming yet, at the end of the season is what I would go with. And the only reason I'm not putting Chelsea in top 4 was I just don't think there's going to quite be the consistency this season to do it. However, that might still be good enough for a Champions League spot, depending on how everybody else does in Europe, because top 5 might be a space. But having watched Villa's opening 3 games, I know they're going to start playing Champions League football soon. So therefore, there might be a drop. But they have looked really good still. They have still looked good.
The main reason why I put us top 4 is because this season, I believe we're going to beat more of the lesser teams in comparison to last season. Because last season, bro, we lost to the likes of West Ham away. We lost to Forest at home. We lost to Brentford at home. You know, we lost to...
Wolves did the double on us.
Say that again?
Wolves did a double on us.
Wolves did a double on us. That's where I see us winning these games, right? And obviously, against the bigger teams, we'll see what happens. Because right now we're unpredictable and we're still building a system. But the main thing for me, bro, like, you know, you're saying Ten Hag's been in here for 3 years. You're not seeing much improvement. I'm seeing improvements. I can clearly see what we're trying to do, but there's still further improvements.
I mean, look, you could come fourth. I'm not sitting here and saying it's an impossibility. I just feel that looking at Villa, unless Villa have a really bad reaction to Champions League football, and again, it is a new Champions League format. There's more games. There is that possibility. But even your boy, Duran, I've been watching him the last few times he's come on. I'm like, he's turning into a bit of a player, you know.
Duran.
I was like, do you know what? You sit there and you're like, I think I might have misjudged this one. He looks really good. Like, and normally it's because of you, Don. Whenever you say a player's good, Don, I normally write them off, to be honest. That's what I normally do. Because you, the fact you say your track record was good. The way I've seen you prop up Mahalo Mudrik's crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Madueke, England call up ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Palmer, player of the year, ASAP. You know what I'm trying to say?
Palmer. We all knew Palmer was good, though. You didn't call that one.
No one knew he was that. No one knew what he was.
No one knew he was going to do what he did.
People said he'd be good, but no one knew he was going to do that.
I had even Nobbins trying to shout at me because I said he's a 10. He's better as a 10.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer's not a 10.
People say we got the wrong one. McAtee's better, and them man like no.
Obviously, my predictions might change if City lose their court case. Like that could change it as an example. And I will be adjusting my prediction if and when a manager gets sacked, because I think that also plays a part. Like it does. Because if Big Ange gets sacked tomorrow, do you know what I mean? It might change the way we look at Spurs because. You guys do look. Spurs do look very much, don't you, Kate? You look very huff and puff, but you can't blow the door down at the moment.
Do you know what? That's one of the most frustrating games I think I've watched for years because we was crap in the first half, and obviously Newcastle scored, and then the second half we was just all over them like a rash and just couldn't score the goal. I just don't understand it. I think. Had we have had Solanke on the pitch and Van der Ven, we win that game. I think, you know, it was a case of we didn't have the right people there. But at the same time, Ange Postecoglou will not change what he does. And he hasn't got Van der Ven running back with that pace to mop up the balls. And yet he plays exactly the same system every single game. So, do you know what? I'm so torn with this team at the minute. I'm not sure if I want Ange to stay. I'm not sure if I don't like Ange. I'm not sure. I don't know what to think at the minute.
Say it. It's a safe space.
I just don't know what to think. It's really as easy as that. I don't know. The only thing I'm grateful of this weekend is that I'm not a Man United fan because they were even worse.
The high line is horrendous. The lack of the lack of adjustment to that high line.
You see the standards of a Spurs fan where they're like, we lost, right? I mean, look, defeats is that in your last 20 or 30 games in the Prem? And they're like, but it's okay.
No, let's not talk about that.
It's okay because Man United got beat. Oh, poor old little Tottenham.
But you was giving it all transfer window about what brilliant business and how this is, you know, business. You're so excited and it's all gone tits up. So I'm glad about that. But
I am. I'm still, do you know what though? I'm standing by my prediction. But let me just say though. Let me just say very quickly on that. It's a great challenge, though, Kate. But I'm saying this now. I still believe within the 3 to 4 season period that Sir Jim's talking about, Man United will be back challenging for Premier League titles. For me, it's not about the manager anymore. The head coach is important. It's about, so all the business we've done in the summer, I still think is great. I'm just now, at the first time I've been able to do this in 11 years, I can scrutinize the head coach in isolation away from his running of the football club and being reluctant to want to sack him because it means we've got to start all that again. But I do hear you.
I think once Southgate gets the job in January, you know, we'll look forward to seeing what happens.
It'll be real good. He's a great man manager.
And you know what? If Southgate comes to Man United, we'll still win a trophy before Tottenham. I'm telling you that now. As sure as eggs are eggs. Henry, what do you make of it? A lot of Spurs fans losing patience with your manager. You predicted a few weeks ago that it will be gone by Christmas. Do you still see that happening?
I think before then. I'm not Ange out. I've said this, but we are not like Kate just alluded to. When you've got personnel that fit a system, and you take the personnel out, the system has to change tactically. And we got cut open from one pass from a centre back all the way through to Murphy, who I literally cannot stand because he's terrible for 36 games. The minute he plays us, he turns into an absolute world-class winger. Tactically, again, we look like we should have scored 4 or 5 goals yesterday, but we don't have, similar to Chelsea, we just do not, against their game against Palace, we didn't take our chances. We've got Timo Werner on 170 grand a week, the fourth highest paid player at the club. How we've signed him. We've got Brennan Johnson, who actually created the goal, to be fair to him, but had no confidence to take his man on. We've put all this pressure on Adobe, who we've brought in from Burnley, who is actually good in 1v1s, but he's good in 1v1s when the fullback's isolated. As soon as he got on the ball, they put 2 men on him. Pedro Porro's not overlapping because he's in midfield because of the system. And the blueprint is out there on how to beat Tottenham. You have to just sit back and counter-attack. And with no Van de Ven, because of his fitness problems, and his hamstring will go around late October time, and he'll be out till January. And in that period, we'll have Radu Dragusin as our only backup to Van de Ven, because Ben Davies categorically cannot play the system. And he's not helping himself. Drop the defensive line between 5 to 10 yards. You don't have to be Pep Guardiola to see that all you have to do is beat Tottenham is to put a ball over the top. And with no Van de Ven there, you have no recovery pace. Right? And we also, I love him, but we've got to talk about James Maddison. It's stinker after stinker after stinker. You are a good shooter from distance. It's what you did your whole career at Leicester. As soon as he gets on the ball, he wants to cut back. Just have a shot at goal. It's Nick Pope. Have a shot at fucking goal, mate.
I don't think he was the worst man on the pitch,
No,
though.
I'm
If you're
not,
going to start singling them out, Romero was
out.
absolutely shocking. I mean, Romero was an absolute disgrace. Ball watching, just not taking, like losing his man all the time. I didn't think Maddison was that bad compared to how he's been some of the games.
And he doesn't create anything. He's the guy we go right. It's like when Arsenal get Odegaard on the ball, they're like, right, here comes a chance. When Chelsea get Palmer on the ball, we get Maddison on the ball, and it's too many touches. His average position on the pitch this season has been in a DM role, whereas Pedro Porro and Udogie have been, their average position is in a number 10 role. That is a tactical cock up of epic proportions.
James Milner hasn't performed. You're getting towards a year now that he hasn't delivered. When did he get injured?
You mean Maddison?
James Maddison.
Maddison, sorry. Maddison has been... When did he get injured? It was October time, November time, right?
Yeah, he was out from October to January. He got injured in the same game as Maddison against
So
Chelsea.
you're talking about nearly a year since he has delivered and performed for you. I think now we're getting answers about James Maddison. Why he wasn't being picked for England and being played when everybody said he should. And whenever you had Arsenal fans, he's better than Odegaard, United fans saying he's better than Bruno, even some City fans, bring him in as the backup to Odegaard. Now we know why none of the top teams in England wanted him.
And it gets worse, Terry.
You're talking 12 months. I know he spent some of that injured, 12 months, and he ain't creating and he ain't scoring. And he is one of those players who fools you with the eye test because he looks good being bad. Where there are some people that can do loads of good things. Mo Salah does everything right, but people get annoyed because it doesn't look good while he's doing it. Maddison is the other end of that spectrum where he does nothing, but people go, oh yeah, but then he look beautiful when he turns. His lines are amazing. He's not a ballet dancer. You should be assessing him on what he does. And he's in a role in a team where it's so easy to assess. How many chances did he create? How many goals did he help you score? The answer is he's doing almost diddly squat.
And it's worse than that. This guy didn't have a Euros, so he should be sharp as an Emo's knife. He should be razor sharp, right? He's got 1 goal in the Premier League since October, right? And now, what's the matter? Now we're sitting here. We are. It's not that deep, but now we're sitting here. I'm going to be honest. I would. This sounds. You think this is going to be madness, but I would drop him against Arsenal. And that sounds crazy, but I think you have to.
For who?
Who? For Bergvall?
Or Kulu. When Bergvall gets on the ball, there's a cross that goes into the box, and if Dominic Frank is there, we've got an aerial presence. Because that's the only way we're going to beat Arsenal is in the air. Because you're not going to beat him in a foot race because Saliba's too quick, and they're too solid defensively. So we've got to start taking shots from distance. James Maddison at Leicester, while he was at Leicester, had I think the 3rd or 4th most amount of goals outside the box. He comes to Tottenham and He gets into the box and he cuts back, plays it out wide to the flanks. So I'm thinking, right, it's a one-on-one situation. And then we cut it back. Our best attacker is Pedro Porro, and he's our fucking right back. That is how, like, I'm sick to death of it. This is going to sound crazy as well. I'd play Pedro Porro right wing and play someone and put Archie Gray right back. Because
What?
He's throwing Everton to a wall now.
Brennan Johnson is horrendous.
My husband's Jim's been saying that. Jim's been saying that since the middle of last season. He's the only one who can cross the ball. He's literally Porro's the only one who can cross the ball in.
He's £100,000 a week and he can't even cross the ball. Archie Gray at right back, Porro at right wing, and then Dominic Solanke, easy money. Stop this low cross. We've got to do a little tap in. Who cares? No one cares. I just want to see a flipping goal, mate. And we've got Dan Burn putting it into our own net. The Everton game was just paper over the cracks because they are absolutely toilet. Leicester, a 37-year-old Jamie Vardy, he's got so much space in the box he can build a fucking house. And we've got Arsenal and Man United away coming up. In between Coventry, let's be honest. Would anyone be surprised if Coventry beat us? Probably not. So when I said I'm going to be amazed if he makes Christmas, I'm going to be amazed if he makes November because we are so tactically all over the place. And that's not me being negative because I want Ange to succeed. And no one can blame Levy. We spent 140 million quid. Like,
remember last season when these had a better start than the Invincibles, and it was all, it's just Tottenham's year now. They've started.
No, I'm angry about it. So I'm more angry about the fact that a Spurs journo did an article saying he stopped Spurs being Spursy, and another one said he is the new Sir Alex Ferguson. I've got to be in my bonnet about it. I don't. The only manager that's ever managed in the Premier League, you can put near Fergie is Peps. If you're like doing comparisons, nobody else should even be spoken about in the same breath. Least of all, no disrespect to Big Ange. I like his attitude. I like the way he says things. You know, he talks like a builder. It's great.
Well, because he just says mate. It's just because he says mate. That's it.
Hey mate.
Yeah, hey,
I'm gonna be honest.
Side of him. Yeah. Both want to say it. I don't think want to say it. They both want to say it.
I'm gonna be honest. If Oliver Glasner is available tomorrow, or I'd love Unai Emery, but it's not realistic. Like we just need a manager who can actually tactically manage games. But the problem is, if Ange goes, that's 16 managers in 21 years.
Wait.
Oh no!
Bearing in mind, Poch was here for 5 years.
You lot are Chelsea.
Yeah, go back in for Poch. He's got America now, isn't it?
That's what's going to happen. 100%.
You're Chelsea, but you ain't won a trophy. That's so sad.
I'd take Poch in a heartbeat.
I couldn't imagine.
I think he'll do one tournament with the US and he'll be back in Spurs.
Yeah, I need him back.
Poch. Oh,
100%.
Yeah.
You need him back for what?
I'll take him right now over Ange 1,000,000%.
Oh my god! I did not expect this sudden turn on Ange.
It's not a turn on Ange. You can only go by what you see. You can only go by what. I mean, I went to the Everton game and I thought, wow, we look really good, you know. But then you watch us yesterday, and it was like it's just so frustrating to have a manager that's that stubborn. He will not change anything. It's never, ever, ever going to work. It's not going to work when you've got Dragusin and not Van der Ven. We haven't got the pace there. I mean, and Bergvall, I've been saying he should start over Maddison since the first game of the season. Maddison's just shit. I never wanted Maddison. He forced me into believing he was decent, and he's not. He's a moody little prick. I'd get him out, let him sit on the bench for a little while and get stressed and pissed off with himself, and hopefully it might give him a kick up the arse. He's too comfortable. There's not enough competition for places in this team.
Do you remember last year when people were going, how dare you not sign Maddison? What's wrong with your club?
Yeah.
He's not...
He's 25 plus in that.
Do you know what? When it comes to the Maddisons and when it comes to the Maddisons and the like in this world, right? I always look at it this way. And even players I rate, I have to like apply this logic to. I did it this summer with Ivan Toney. I rate Toney. The fact no one wants him, surely that's the red flag. The fact that Maddison was balling out for Leicester year in, year out, and nobody bought him. Forget your own personal feelings and emotions. It means something. And by the way, in that same time that Andrew's been at your club, £357 million has been spent on that squad. It's
So
a
there's
lot
no
of
excuse.
money. There's a lot of money. As a football club, there is zero excuse to not be getting better in that time. 2 centre-backs, we bought midfielders, we bought attackers. Yes, but on net spend, we sold Harry Kane. Yeah, you did, but net spend ain't real. It's part of the income. You're celebrating that as well. You've spent £357 million on players.
And
Who's
Arsenal
our
going to
best-
go
who's our
get in the
best signing
first
out of
team.
Who's your
Okay.
best signing? Van der Ven.
Okay, so when Van der Ven's out of the team, which is half the year because of his injury, who's the next best signing?
Porro.
That was before, wasn't it? That's
Yeah,
before
but
that.
the permanent deal, I think, actually came in last summer. After that, I would say...
Because it's not Brennan Johnson at £50 million. I'd say
No.
Was Papa Sarr? Was he? Is he?
No, that was before.
No, it was before. I'm struggling now, mate. I'm struggling.
Does Maddison get it on a technicality?
Oh no, Vicario. Vicario is our second best.
Vicario, that's a great one. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
That
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
I'm sorry. That guy.
He's not
a
actually
bit-
that good.
He's a bit Sanchez-y, isn't he? He's just.
He's
I
not
don't
actually
think-
that good.
The confidence
He hasn't
level.
got a back
there's
line.
confidence- When he's got the ball with him, there's some. He's not confident at all.
He don't
He's
catch a
scared.
ball either. He
He's
couldn't
scared-
catch
he's
a
scared.
cold.
He's scared of the
He's
ball.
not as bad as Sanchez.
He got caught out after you got knocked out in the FA Cup by City. Yeah, when City was bullying him in the box for the corners. That was when I was like, yeah, this guy's a bit suspect, bro. You know what I mean? He's like a salmon, innit? He's a bit like a
There
salmon.
was a lot. You know, the last transfer window, there was a lot of talk, a lot of Tottenham fans giving it chest that we've got Vicario, he's better than Raya. You only had to watch Arsenal play on Saturday and watch Tottenham to see the difference in levels between the two keepers. Vicario's nowhere near David Raya's level. And that is the trouble with Tottenham's transfer window. We don't buy good enough players. Say it every single year and it never changes.
I'll be honest with you. The difference in gap between Arsenal and Tottenham right now is night and day. Just overall players, trajectory. And when you consider only like 3 years ago, you were a better team than them. Their growth and your decline in that same time period.
It's Daniel Levy.
is shocking. Yeah.
It's Daniel Levy buying average players to replace average players.
Do you know what I love about it? Do you know what I do love about it, right? I don't like seeing Tottenham do badly. My dad's a Spurs fan, right? And I want them to do well.
No, Terry, you love it. Terry, you fucking love it.
No. It's not like on a personal on a personal human level, I don't like seeing it. On a social media level, do you know what I've loved this season? The same people that did the whole boycott the football terrace, they don't like Spurs, are now saying all the things I was saying 2 years ago. They're literally, they could be taking my comments and they're pushing it. And I'm like, this is poetic and beautiful and amazing to see. But no, it's never going to change. The mentality isn't right. Up from the inside out of your club, the mentality isn't there. And you can bring Poch back all you want. I actually don't. I think Poch is spent as well at the highest level. I think he's finished. I think he's spent. How old is he now?
52.
Okay, so
He's
he's
yummy, whatever age.
No, when's his birthday? Answer that very quick.
He's yummy. Oh, poor
He's
Jim.
yummy.
If you're watching Jim, don't worry about it, mate, because your Mrs. Kate is punching to be with you, Jimbo. All right, just gonna let you know that, Jim, your old mate watching.
I don't think you're deep in how quick H answered the question. How old he is? How did you know that so quickly, bro?
They're in love with him. Don, you know Spurs fans, right? For Henry's generation, Poch is their Pep, Poch is their Wenger, Poch is their Jose, right? No trophies, but he's their guy. But a lot of Spurs fans are bona fidely in love with him. I think
I'm not in love with him just because.
Henry. I've heard a rumor. You don't have a mirror on your ceiling in your bedroom with your missus. You have a life-size picture of Poch.
You know what's so mad? We've got someone on the panel.
What I heard, mate. That's what I heard.
Sorry, we've got someone on the panel, yeah, who's been blessed by this guy, right? Last season, he gave his club the Carabao Cup. He gave him the Champions League as well by playing a Harry Kane that had 1 foot basically that game. He's an absolute bottle job, bro. And I'm not surprised that he's at USA right now, right? Whatever big club takes him next, good luck, bro. Good luck. It'll probably be Tottenham. It'll probably be you lot.
Did you say big?
I reckon he'll do one tournament with the US, whether that's the CONCACAF or whatever it is next year, or the World Cup, and then I think he will either be back in the Premier League or La Liga. Like the timelines match
I'm
up
sorry.
perfectly.
If you end up taking Pochettino back, what does that say about your football club?
No,
You
it's
got
not
rid
the
of
football
him.
club. It's the fans. What does it say about the fans? Because the fans
It's
will.
not the fans. That's
It's
such
the
a
football
shitty
club.
thing to say,
It's the football
Henry.
club.
No,
The
but
You got
fans
rid of
don't
him.
control the
League
club.
magic, and all that in the matter
Yeah,
of
but the
minutes.
fans don't make the decisions.
Hang
You
on a
cannot.
minute,
This
though.
is what
Sorry,
really
go on.
irritates
I'm
me.
just saying,
Sorry,
I
I'm
don't
going to
want
go on a
Poch back,
rant.
I'm putting it
Terry,
out
can
there.
I have a mini rant? I'm sick to death of hearing Tottenham fans saying the fans are the problem. You get the club you deserve. It's down to you. You're this, you're that. No, it isn't. It doesn't matter if I love Poch and I have him on my bedroom seating.
No, I agree.
Only one it matters to is Jim. Daniel Levy couldn't give a shit. It doesn't matter if I scream the house down and stand outside Daniel Levy's office with 1,000 people saying I want Poch back. He doesn't give a shit. Fans don't mean anything to Daniel Levy. He runs the business. He runs the football club. So it isn't the fans. And that's,
No, but
that's
what I'm saying is, Kate, if we bring him back, a lot of the fan base will be happy and will lap it
yeah,
up.
they will. I'll be happy.
But
I'll be happy
again,
because
sorry. Yeah.
we might not have won anything. Sorry, Terry, I'm on one now. We
No,
might
go
not have
for it.
won
Love it.
anything, but I've been fucking watching Spurs for 40 odd years, and in those Poch years, I believed in Spurs. Something I haven't done for years and years. Yes, we won nothing, and it is pitiful. I can hear myself saying it, and it's shit. But that's us. Don't you understand? This is Daniel Levy. We're never ever going to go out and buy superstars and win loads of trophies because Daniel Levy don't do it. He doesn't give a shit. He's just put up on the side of the stadium shop the NFL sign and the go-karting sign. That's how
And the
much it
NFL
means
sign's
to him.
bigger than the Tottenham sign. So that's-
Exactly. It means nothing to him.
Do you want to know what's really funny as well? That you sit there, Henry, and you're like, it's the fans. They'll want Poch. You
No,
just
I'm
sat
saying
there.
a lot of the
Hang
fans
on.
are-
Let me finish. You just sat there. You just sat there and gave us his date of birth, his shoe size, and his inside leg measurements, right? You love the man. You're in love. I'm going to tell your fiance. She needs to watch out for you. Man's on Poch watch, bruv. He is.
Poch watch.
Come on.
Actually,
Do you understand? I'm sorry. Do you understand how sad it was for Tottenham fans to have their high point of Pochettino being he made us believe? He didn't do anything but
Yeah,
believe
but
we
you know
could.
what, Tom?
It's
That's
like a
different for
cult.
you. You're a Liverpool fan. You're a Chelsea fan. You're used to winning things. As a 40-odd-year-old woman, to see my club competing in the Champions League final, something I never thought I'd see because of our chairman, because he's a tight-fisted bastard and doesn't invest in the team. And that, Poch, look, stop, you're getting me on a rant. I'm going to shut up now.
No, I like it.
So I won't
You know
shut
what?
up. I'll just go
Do you
off
know
on
what?
one.
I'm going to do a small mentality joke right now. That as bad as Man United have been in the last decade, I'm so glad my dad stopped me supporting Spurs as a kid. Thank you, Dad. I love you forever and the day. It's the greatest thing you ever did. The greatest thing you ever did. He went, pick someone else, son. Pick someone
and this
else.
is why, this right there is why I don't talk to most of my family, because they put me in this position. They made me support this bloody club, and it's been shit for most part.
You know what's mad about it as well? When I picked Man United as my team, it was 1988, maybe 1989. We were awful then. And my dad at the time went, you picked a worse team than Tottenham. Thank you, Dad. Because again, I think my dad let me pick them. He didn't care about the local team thing because he was like, they've been crap for 20 odd years. I think he was like, my son's done himself up. He could have stopped me. He could have made me. Thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's the best thing you ever did for me.
Terry, you would have believed from 2015 to 2019. And is that would you rather have believed?
Tom, you're probably young enough to be my son. Have some respect and just be quiet. What's going on? Let an old woman rant.
I bet if Kate was your mum, your toenails wouldn't be so long and unkept. I'm telling you that now.
No, they would not.
Honestly, he looks like
mate.
that is true. Tom could hang on a rope upside down with his feet, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? He could do it. He could do it. Let's go to some of these super chats here. You all see me all right and hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. My thing went a bit funny. This here says Mahalo Mudryk would start for Manchester United and Spurs. No, he wouldn't.
When I said he's no better, when I said Rashford is no better than him right now, I meant it, bro. And he's actually looking more dangerous than Rashford. If he played for you right now, Terry, I promise you'd rather see Mudryk. I promise you.
Nah.
Is that
No
super
good.
chat saying that Mudryk's better than Son?
Yeah, it's madness. Just to clarify, he's definitely not better than Son, Terry. If you want me to answer that.
No, he's not better than Son. No. Kovacic is better than Enzo.
He's
I would agree.
Kovacic is better than him, yeah, but it's a different.
No, he's not. No, he's not. I love Kovacic. I love Kovacic.
He's a different profile. He's a different profile.
Kovacic is again. He's been put into a system that makes him look very, very good. But if you put Kovacic now into Chelsea, he's struggling.
We saw that. We saw what they're seeing right now at Chelsea as well, bro. We actually saw him perform. He just kept getting injured. Towards the end of his time at Chelsea, he just fell off a cliff. Right, he fell off a cliff that season. We finished 12th, bro. When he came back from the World Cup, but I'm not seeing any difference in his game. I was seeing this at Chelsea as well.
Joshua here says he shouldn't be here in the first place. They had the decision before the final and took so long after say there's no faith in him despite the trophy. Yeah, listen, look, I get the criticism that Ineos will get for him being given an opportunity. I think it'll all make sense in the future, potentially. We might understand their rationale. But as I say, go and look at other takeovers of the big clubs in England in the last 20 years. The majority have given the existing manager time, even when it's gone over a summer period as well. So it isn't unheard of. It's more rare to sack straight away, to be honest with you. So we'll see. Bravo, Tom Nkunku up top, please, as a 9 is what Steve says here. He's a Chelsea fan.
The more you lot see it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, bro.
I mean, I don't understand how it's so crazy to ask for a Bundesliga Golden Boot winner to get put in a position to score goals.
I just don't think he's a striker, bro. Behind the striker, I'm all for it, but striker, nah.
Are Ineos building a new stadium because Liverpool own Old Trafford? Potentially, but we'll be back. Don't you worry, my friend. We'll be back. I trust Ineos. Should Ten Hagi do an express course at Hogwarts School of Football Management during the international break? Yes, he should. Onana needs to go. We got a ball-playing keeper, and he doesn't know how to save shots. His positioning is awful. Yeah, his positioning is shocking. It really is bad.
Away for hands as well. That's one other thing about him, bro.
For a man so big and strong, the lack of power in them wrists is crazy. Genuinely crazy.
The position on that third goal. Do you know what it reminded me of? A couple of years ago when we played, just Dean Henderson gave Salah the whole of the other side of the goal to aim for and just made himself as small as possible. Onana basically watched Salah shoot and went, "Oh fuck, I was supposed to die for that, weren't I?"
The news about this bozo now going to Turkey as well, yeah? This bum.
Bozo!
Absolute
Osimhen?
Bro, yes.
Why?
Greed is a deadly sin.
No, you guys offered him less money than Tosin. Don't you be having a go at him?
Bro.
No, hold on. How can a guy be a bum if he was apparently the key to making you title challenges?
He's a bozo for not.
He wants to play Europa League football. That's what it is.
Yeah, he found it in Turkey instead of going Saudi because it was Saudi or Chelsea. Yeah, he messed up his Saudi deal and he didn't want to.
Hang on. I'm calling you out, Don. In the group chat, you said if he goes Saudi and picks money over legacy, the man's got no heart. He tried to come to Chelsea, but you offered him for £65,000 a week as a base contract when he's on nearly 300 grand a week now. He turned it down. And now Napoli don't want him, so he's going on loan to a club to keep playing until January, where he's going to source another move. I don't understand how Chelsea fans are angry at a player
do you honestly
turning down 65 grand a week.
Do you honestly think a guy that's getting 10 million euros a year was offered 65k a week, bro?
It's been reported by Fabrizio Romano and by Damasio that you guys offered him somewhere in the region of about half of his basic wage now as a base, with incentives if you guys got into the Champions League and if he was a top goal scorer. So it could have gone up to as high as about 150, 160, which is still almost half of what he's being paid now. How is he greedy and a bum?
Yeah, but Terry, this is the thing though. What I'm saying with him, right? He obviously wanted to get a big move. He messed up because he thought he'd have all these clubs queuing up for him. It didn't happen this time around because Napoli
you queued up for him.
Yeah, we came in for him, and obviously Saudi came in for it, right? For me, with Osimhen, he should have come, and within a year, bro, his money would have gone back up, bro. Same sort of thing with Palmer, right? As long as he proves it, his money will go up. But he wanted a guaranteed paycheck. And now he's start going to Galatasaray, bro. You know what I'm saying? Absolute bozo.
But he's not a young kid who's just coming through. He's an established player who's won titles, who is well coveted. You can't be. Look, you are an experienced recruiter, right? And you're very good at your job. Yes.
Yeah.
You would. If a prestigious company, a bigger company than yours, came into you but wanted to put you on junior level money and said, "But if in a year's time you've hit these numbers, we'll put you onto a higher wage," you ain't taking that pay cut for a year on a promise that might not be delivered.
No, but
Come on.
Terry, the difference is he had no other option. He had no other option. That's my
No, he did have another. No, he does have another option. Stay where he is, go on loan for 6 months, and then try again in January. That's an option.
Terry, do you think Osimhen was planning to go Galatasaray this summer?
No, I'm not stating that. I'm not stating that for a second. I'm just pointing out that you know as well as I do. And look, people say no one said that. DiMarzio has said it. Fabrizio hasn't given the amounts, but he spoke about how you made multiple offers and broke it down. Yeah. There's credible journalists that have said it was a much lower offer than his current wage, and a lot of it wasn't based. I think he's done what he thinks is right. He's not a bozo. He isn't greedy or money hungry. He just didn't think your offer was suitable for a player of his standards.
Yeah, so clearly you didn't want to come to the club that much then, did you? You know what I'm saying? You're here talking to John Obi Mikel.
Nah, I'm sorry. You can't be expecting players to take a 50% wage cut to play for Chelsea who ain't even in the Champions League, bro.
Sancho and Felix took a significant wage cut, bro. Both of them.
But hang on, but it's different. Sancho, Dortmund didn't want him after he did well there. He wanted out of Man United and he's flopped for us, and we wanted to recoup money. Felix is in the last chance saloon of his career because nobody else wants him. Yeah, but Osimhen is not in the same scenario as those two, bro. Come on.
Terry, but what I'm saying is, bro, if he went to Saudi, it would make more sense because Saudi offered him the bag, right? He didn't even end up going Saudi, is my point. He's ended up going to Galatasaray, bro. Right, a club that was nowhere near the radar to even get this.
But this is the thing. That doesn't matter. He's on a certain amount of money. Neither you or I know what his commitments are. But I was very fortunate in one of my previous jobs where I spent a lot of time around footballers. So many of them support their wider families. They support big charities, organizations, building homes and all sorts of things. Maybe he can't afford to go from nearly 300 grand a week to 65, 75 as a base. And this is it. As much as we think it's obscene amounts of money and you could never run out, if you're suddenly supporting, like Mane was at Liverpool, multiple brothers and sisters, children going to school, building homes back in your homeland, you can't afford to take half a pay. You can't afford to half your money. And I think we have to look at it that you wouldn't half your money for a new job, Don. You wouldn't.
I said the exact same thing on my channel about the situation, bro. I said, we don't know what his expenses are, right? I understand that point of view. But what I'm saying is, if he did what he needed to do in terms of scoring the goals, getting us back into Champions League, he would be rewarded, bro. Right?
You know what I'm doing? You know that offer I've sent you?
Yeah.
We're halving it now until the money until the new, and I'm going to set higher number goals, and then I'll pay you what I offered you. That's what I'm going to do. You've convinced me to half your offer now, Don. Thank you.
No, bro. No.
I'm only joking.
This guy, yeah, bro. Listen, he could have come and create a legacy for himself, yeah. Because we've got a bunch of creators in the team, right? The likes of Sancho, the likes of Palmer, the likes of Reece James, the likes of Felix, the likes of Nkuku. There's so many guys that can supplement for this guy that he will be scoring a lot of goals and will help him get his bonuses, bro. Right? But he was thinking too much. Oh no, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's an African thing, isn't it? Clearly, I'm African myself. I know what it's at. David, you know, I'm African myself. I can say these things. I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. African men don't want to drop their peas like that. You know what I'm trying to say? I hear it, but end of the day, it's Chelsea, isn't it? It's Chelsea. So, bro, let him enjoy Galatasaray. Let's see where it ends up next. bro.
I bet you he turns up and scores a stupid amount of goals.
He's only there for 6 months. He's got a break clause, so if any club comes in January, you can go.
But they've put a 130 million euro release clause in his contract, and he's trying to negotiate down 75. Yeah,
like this clearly is just a one-stop thing, and then he gets his move next summer. And
he's asking for some break clause or something in January, bro. Like he's done himself, Tom. He's done himself. His agent needs to get sacked. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's crazy. It's crazy, bro. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't think the way Napoli have dealt with it though, like completely excluded him, giving the number 9 to Lukaku before he's even in a Napoli shirt. Like I don't think they've dealt with it.
It's a bad look on him now, but I don't think he's done himself and his career has fucked after this. I think it's just a case of he goes as 6 or 12 months in Turkey and then comes back and is sold for like 60 million quid. And all of a sudden, this gets sort of forgotten about. Like, it's not that deep. I don't get why all of a sudden I'm now seeing Chelsea fans turn on him and go, oh, well, he was crap anyway. Why would he want him anyway?
Nah. I'm not going to do that. I just think he's a bozo for making the decision that he did, bro. Because now he's ended up at Galatasaray, bro. That's a joke.
Yes, but
no one here.
It's not a prison sentence. It's not. He's not there for 9 years. He's there for 1.
Bro, he ruined it. He ruined it for us. He actually ruined it for us. we were linked to Tony, right? Tony ended up going to Saudi. They were never going to sign 2 players. We were waiting for Osimhen to give us the green light. If we had gone back for Duran, they would have straight away said 80 million. 80 million if you want Duran now, because we've come in on deadline day and clearly Duran is actually someone they can use in their squad. They would have done to us what happened to United Anthony. They would have extorted us, right? Initially it was like 40 million. We would have got 80 million quotes now for Duran, bro.
So shouldn't Chelsea have figured out what Osimhen wanted money-wise before putting in offers for him and exposing their negotiating position?
They would have known, Tom, but end of the day...
So then why didn't you just... If you knew how much he wanted and you knew you couldn't pay that, why make the offer and expose how much you've got?
It was a game of poker to see who cracks first. Because like David said, it was only us and Saudi that wanted this guy. If there was other clubs involved, like Man City and that, Arsenal and that, obviously they'll be offering good wages, right? And we'd have to match that. But it was only us, so they probably thought, yeah, he's gonna pick us. In the end,
right? But the point is, Chelsea were after a striker this summer. The names you mentioned there: Tony, Duran, Osimhen.
Yeah.
Tony was available all window until the deadline. Duran has been available for large parts of this window. And yet you waited until the very end to go buy a player who, for argument's sake, you knew you couldn't pay what he wanted, and there was a chance that the deal wouldn't come off. That to me just seems stupid. That was what we done last year, and it was stupid then. And it's what you've done now, and it looks stupid. You should, the moment you know you can't pay him what he wants, you move on. You go find a target who actually wants to be there and wants to play, rather than a guy who's so money motivated.
I get what you're saying, Tom. I would fully hear it if there was better options available to him, but it's the fact that it was Saudi, bro. Even when Saudi offered him the crazy wages, he was waiting for Chelsea. He was still prioritizing us. That's what I hear. That
this here says I'm a Chelsea fan, and even I know that Osimhen offer was disrespectful. He gets called a bum for taking something he's less worth. Delusional Don. He also says Don wants Osimhen to come to the club, be our top striker, help us to the Champions League, but pay him less than Nkunku, Enzo, Palmer. That's disrespectful as shit.
Bro, we don't. Here. I know there's been a few numbers floating about, but I don't see Chelsea offering this guy 65k a week, bro. That's less than Carney, right? There's no way they would offer this guy 65k.
Well, yeah. Listen, I mean, either way, I mean, you just know you've not gone above the 150, 160 cap mark, and even then, at those levels. You had a lot of fights about this last year, Tony. It's at Ten Hag in, but his tactics and decision making is going to get him fired. But I'm wavering now. Who can replace him? Well, look, there are options out there. And look, if Man United, depends what you did. I mean, Tuchel's still available as an example. You've got Van Nistelrooy that's still in the club right now. But again, I think you have to then go out into the market and you have to go, well, can we prize somebody? Man United should be able, even at this particular juncture, to be able to prize someone away from a club. Offer the money and prize somebody away. That is doable in my opinion. We've got £30 million coming in for Sancho. 20 to 25 million plus his salary gone. So we're saving £50 million on Sancho. Use that to get a top manager. The post match where journalists dropped 10 faults on Ten Hag is embarrassing. He deflected with his 2 trophies. And do you know what's funny? Trophies are the most important part of football. I agree. But it's also where they're not the only part of the conversation. So again, if you're part of Standards FC and you go trophies only matter, then you have to agree with what Ten Hag has said. But we all know your league performances and your league consistency is the ultimate barometer for where you are in the game. Ten Hag looks like a guy who climbed over a glass wall to check what was on the other side. that
laugh that he did was evil, brother. It was evil.
I know. Don wants Osimhen. Sorry, I already read that one out. My apologies. Obviously, a big incident happened at the weekend, gentlemen. Arsenal saw Declan Rice sent off. It's caused a lot of debate and a lot of controversy from, I don't just think Arsenal fans across the board. I think everybody agrees it's a red card, but the inconsistencies are being called out. What do you make of it, Kate? Is this Arsenal fans not accepting that it was a red card, or do you believe that this is referees picking and choosing when to apply the laws of the game?
First of all, I'm not a gentleman, but thanks anyway, Terry, for blanketing me in that statement. You didn't even realise you said it. It's fine. I'll let you off.
I didn't want to. Hang on, I'm going to defend myself here, but I shouldn't have assumed anyone's gender, should I? Are you all?
No.
I want to check what you all are. You know what I mean? Sorry.
I mean, last I heard, Henry identifies as a toaster, but I mean that could just be a rumor. But look, the whole Arsenal thing, by the letter of the law, yeah, it probably was a red, but one of the most ridiculous decisions in my eyes that I've ever seen. No common sense whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. And yes, when the rules are concerned, maybe you don't need common sense, but I just think when you see things like that happening and red cards for that or second yellows for that, it just shows how far the game has dropped, in my opinion. You never would have seen stupid decisions like that. But I'll take it. It means Declan Rice is out the North London derby and we need all the help we can get. So, but yeah, as far as a red card, I don't think in a million years it was a red card.
It was just an experience. It's a stupid decision. 100% it's a stupid decision. But I also think Declan Rice is an idiot for giving the referee the chance to make that decision.
Exactly.
The referees in this league are some of the worst in the sport. There is a reason we don't get refs in major tournaments anymore. Don't go and give them a reason to send you off. Don't go and poke the bear, because they will just do you in. What Rice done happens about 5 times a game in different ways. It happened earlier in Joao Pedro when the Arsenal fans are on about that. But Rice, A, made it obvious.
You know why? I made it obvious? Because he was bonging out the place. That's why I made it obvious. He wanted to come off the pitch. You know what I'm saying? I've played before and I've faked injury if I'm having a bad game to come off the pitch. Aspilicueta did it against Arsenal in the FA Cup final. Remember that? This guy was faking injury to come off. He was absolutely stinking out the place. Yeah. And I'm sorry, he doesn't get spoken about enough. Yeah. He does not get spoken about enough. I spoke about this guy last season and I said Declan Rice is not on 8. Yeah. I was watching this guy in the reserves playing as a centre back. Now, all of a sudden, Super Mick is able to change his life and turn him into this flamboyant, creative maestro as an 8. But every single time I ask these Arsenal fans or ask anyone, okay, what does he do in that position? It's always things off the ball. It's never, he creates chances or he scores goals. You know,
he takes corners.
He gets assists from, he takes corners. He can take corners. He can take corners from midfield, you know, from a centre back even. You know what I'm trying to say? He can still take the corners, right? This guy is like, I promise you, bro, it takes about 3 seconds for him to turn his body. Yeah. He's spoken about it himself. He is better defensively because he is a 6. But the problem Arsenal have is they play a 4-3-3. So he can't play in the pivot. If you play him in a 4-2-3-1 with a Jorginho next to him, with a Partey next to him, it will help because he can cover ground and do the things that Enzo can't do in terms of winning the ball back and all of that, right? But if you're asking Declan Rice to do the things that Paqueta does, to do the things that Palmer does, to do the things that even Smith Rowe does in terms of creating, he is not that guy. And I'm sorry, there's certain things that you just can't coach in football, bro. You can't teach these things. You either have it or you don't, right? I watch him in that role, like the other day. What was he really doing? What was he doing in that position? He just runs about, tries to win the ball back. What does he actually do in that role? They're saying, Marino's going to play there. He's going to go back and play as a 6. So you're going to have the same problem then, because who's going to be feeding the ball to Odegaard then, in between the lines, right? Odegaard, when Rice was playing as a 6, he had to keep dropping as a 6. He had to keep dropping back to get the ball because he's not getting it from Rice. Partey looks up and he'll just play the pass, right? Lavia looks up, he just plays the pass. Rice, side to side, he goes over there, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? But no one ever talks about it because it's Declan Rice. I don't get it.
So you're saying that? So you think he got himself sent off because he wanted off that pitch because he was struggling so much?
I'm being silly, obviously, Terry. I'm being silly, innit? You know,
I'm just. I don't even. I've got to clarify. I don't want to misrepresent anyone. Okay.
No.
When KJ clips that up, we want to make sure that you're represented accurately.
I'm being silly, but my point is he is not an 8, bro. I can pick out even Morgan Gibbs-White. that can play better in that position, bro. Because he can work hard off the ball as well, right? Bruno, go put Bruno in that position, bro. Dewsbury Hall, how about that? You could play him in that role as well. Yeah? He is not an 8. He is not an 8, bro.
He's been on fraud watch for me, and he will remain on fraud watch. Because, as I said when he was at England, this guy can't. There's something about him. He can't do it. And I feel like I've been lied to by Arsenal fans. Because last year they told me he was class. They told me he can do everything. He's amazing. This guy can run midfields. I watched him at England and went, this guy ain't it. And he's come back to Arsenal. He's had 1 okay game and 2 bad games. Right? He's currently 2.5 to a half down. But no one wants to talk about it. This guy is remaining on fraud watch because he can't carry it out.
Can I ask a question so I understand? Is this genuine or is this rivalry based? Because the way you two defend Enzo, but the energy you have for Declan Rice, I find staggering, considering they're both £100 million players.
It's because everyone's got energy for Enzo, but no one's got energy for Rice.
So this is what it is.
But Terry, my thing with Rice isn't even rivalry based. My thing is when I was supporting him, he was dreadful. That guy, he was awful. He couldn't do anything. And Tom can vouch for me. Tom can vouch because he was there live and direct. He saw them.
He would tell anyone who would listen how crap Declan Rice was.
There would be some beautiful women, and they're just looking at me shouting about Declan Rice.
Before I go, I've got to go, people. If Arsenal had got Caicedo in that January, yeah, he'll be a better signing than Declan Rice, in my opinion, because he can actually play as a box to box, and in that role on the ball, he is better than Declan Rice, bro, on the ball. Right, and if you want to play him as a 6, he can progress the ball better than Declan Rice.
Can I ask you a question then? If Caicedo and Enzo are better than Rice, why is your midfield not as good as Arsenal's in terms of how it performs on the football pitch?
We haven't got that balance at the moment, Terry. You know what I'm trying to say? We haven't got that balance at the moment. That's just the matter of the fact.
Right, how many Chelsea players get into Arsenal's midfield?
Bro, I can see Enzo starting
with the right environment
for these guys.
So say that again.
Palmer's got that. I mean, you're not gonna. It depends what formation.
Just forget their forward line or defense. They're 3 midfielders, 8, 6, 10. How many Chelsea players?
I'm playing Caicedo over Rice every single day of the week.
Right, so Caicedo over Rice is an 8.
I'm tempted to say Lavia just because most Arsenal fans, people don't rate Partey right now. They just say he's finished. That's the only reason.
You'd have Caicedo and Lavia.
Wait.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Hold on. Caicedo, Lavia, and Odegaard is serious, bro. Because Caicedo will give you the legs that Rice gives you, but on the ball, he's better on the ball than Rice, right? And Lavia in build-up is amazing. You know how good he is in build-up, bro.
And you
hold on, Terry. Tom, why are you doing all of that, bro? Why are you doing all of that? Your club wanted 2 of these players, bro, and you were twerking for these guys. Now it's all this because they play for Chelsea. Why?
Arsenal finished fucking second. You finished 6th. How is your midfield better?
But on paper, it is.
Football ain't played on paper, darling.
I just want it known. I am not in the camp of Chelsea's midfield is better than Arsenal's. But
there's 2 of our
midfielders could play in there. That's what I'm gonna say.
David, are you gonna sit there and tell me a midfield of Lavia, Caicedo as in the 8, and Odegaard isn't a good midfield, bro?
It's a good midfield under Mikel Arteta.
In a good system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the question was, if you've got Arteta as the coach in the right environment, how many Chelsea players get in an Arsenal midfield?
I just told you, bro, 2 of them.
So you are now, so Don, you are now praising Mikel Arteta as a good manager as well. I just want to clarify that for your stance on him. Okay, cool. I'm just trying to make sure I don't misrepresent anybody because I don't want to be in 6 weeks when you go. I always told you they were saying wrong with Mikel Arteta. He's a dead manager. We're going to come back to that moment where you said he was good.
I've told you from day one, me and Cameron used to go back and forth. I said, Arteta, I can see what he's trying to do. He just needs the backing in terms of the money. That's what I've always said. But, bro, Lavia and Caicedo, for me, is better than Partey and Rice. If you put Lavia and Caicedo next to Odegaard, that is cooking, bro.
I've always felt the midfield is the most important part of a team in terms of shielding the back line and feeding the front line. This season, I know you rate your manager, and I know that you think Mikel Arteta is good. I think your league position is going to be a big indicator on whose midfield does the best and is the best. And I get what you mean on paper and individually, but I also think we have to judge players based on the sport they're in, which is a team sport. And because there are players out there in the past that you could say on paper, maybe not in the top 10 in their position, but they score more. And you could argue as footballers, technical footballers, you could look at someone like Haaland and you might not put him in your top 10, top 20, top 30, but you all know you're picking him as your number 9 for your team.
Yeah.
You all know. So I think that's an important part. Lavia has played one competitive game in 1.5 years and lost. Lavia's DM as a DM, horrible defensive DM. Lavia PR is worse than Enzo Fernandez, got Southampton relegated. In fairness, yeah, I mean, he's playing the relegated Southampton team. He played one competitive game for Chelsea. You don't know that he's better in the Premier League for a top club than Declan Rice. There's no evidence.
Bro, listen, Terry, I've got eyes. God bless me with eyes, yeah? And I can watch and I can see things that Lavia's got over Declan Rice in that position.
But you haven't watched him in you watched him in one competitive game for Chelsea.
No, bro, but bro, listen, just because I've only watched him for one competitive game for Chelsea, it's not one, it's been more than that. It's been hold on. It's been 2 games. He played against
that's all the difference. Sorry, it's all different.
I've watched him in the Prem boss all of our teams, bro, for Southampton.
You
right?
know, people acting like at Southampton he weren't class is crazy. Like,
yeah, bro, exactly. We're not gonna just brush over.
No, but Don. You can't say when
Tom, hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying, bro. If we're gonna do that, we can't rate Rice then. We can't rate Rice. We couldn't rate Rice before he came to Arsenal because he was at West Ham. Yeah, Lavia had a very good season at Southampton, and he bossed all of our teams here, bro. When he played us, all of us.
Fine.
He did.
When did he boss mine?
I remember his performance at Anfield, bro. They lost
3-1.
But he played good though. He had a good game. I remember that game, bro.
So one good season at Southampton, I get you. But if we're going to count Southampton, then you've got to count multiple good seasons for West Ham, including leading them to a European trophy.
Yeah, in the same final that fucking Amrabat bossed him in, right?
He's
that
still
game.
okay. He played. He had an amazing tournament, and without him, they wouldn't have got to that final.
I think Lavia is a better player than him.
I'll tell you what, Don. That's 2 games in a row now where you told me the midfield that got bossed still won the game. Maybe it's actually not as important as you make out. If you can still win games when your midfield's getting bossed, or maybe the case is they weren't bossing the midfield. They just were crunching into a tackle or 2 and it looked good. Because if you're bossing other teams in midfield, you don't lose games. You don't.
We're talking about a team that got relegated, bro. That's what we're talking about. Lavia can't do it all. You know what I'm saying?
If Southampton were bossing the midfield battles in most of their games,
get relegated.
They wouldn't get relegated. It's a really good point. There is a good point.
The perfect example was when he played against Arsenal. They were 2-0 up. As soon as Lavia came off, they conceded 2 goals, bro. Right? He was very, very important to them. Very, very important, bro. And we tried to sign this guy as soon as they signed him.
It's not West
Ham 3 years consistently in Europe with Declan Rice. He leaves, they fall out.
Bro,
we can all play that game.
I'm not saying Rice is a bad player. I'm just saying Lavia would be a better profile for Arsenal, bro.
Where are the Arsenal reps today? I don't know. KJ sorts out the panels. I do none of it. I actually thought Staffy was on today, and then he's not here. But I don't get involved until late in the day. That's part of Don's job. But back to the point, though, not Don's job, KJ's job. Henry, what did you make of the red card? Just out of interest. That's what we actually started on. Don took us on a tangent. I liked it, though. I know you got to shoot, mate. Henry, what did you make of the red card? Do you agree with Tate that it was harsh, or do you think, no, the letter of the law was followed and we should accept that?
I think the letter of the law was followed and we should accept that. However, due to the inconsistencies in the Premier League of the officials, of the officiating from the officials, I understand the frustration of Arsenal fans. I thought there was a lot that the referee ignored when Brighton should have had free kicks. I think the João Pedro situation doesn't help or put the Premier League in the best of light when you look at that ball went out of the pitch and he kicked it forward. But like I can somewhat sympathise because it is the slightest touch from Declan Rice. But however, if you kick it 6 inches, 6 yards, or 60 yards, you still move the ball away from a free kick. So in the letter of the law, it is a second yellow card. Declan Rice only has himself to blame. The first yellow card he got was completely avoidable. He did not need to go and dive in and try to break. I can't remember, was it James Milner? Or I can't remember who he found.
No, it was the young lad who came on that Ihan.
Yeah,
Yari.
He did not need to do that. And if he didn't do that, if Declan Rice doesn't get sent off, Arsenal win that game, in my opinion, 2-0.
That tackle probably went against him because that was like one of them orange card tackles that people go on about, which is on like the cusp, like on another day.
It's not a red.
If he gets given a red for that, it probably doesn't get overturned. It's one of them like that weird ones, and I think he was on eggshells then. And like I said earlier, don't give the stupid refs a reason to send you off. Walk away.
Not only that, Declan Rice, he's getting a lot of scrutiny at the moment from rival fans, from people in the media. Yeah, following up from his Euros going into the season, that sort of decision doesn't help himself. But do you know what? Fair play, because Declan Rice come out and he was accountable and he said it was a red card. It doesn't help Arsenal though. Now going into a North London derby with Sammy Mockbell today has confirmed that Mikel Merino is out of a fractured shoulder for 2 months. Their midfield options could be quite light going into North London derby. And there's all these rumours that Jorginho has a fitness concern. If he's not fit by the North London derby, I don't know who they play in the 8 role. Do they bring in Wanyeri? But look, Declan Rice can't have any complaints, but the inconsistencies in the Premier League officiating is genuinely at an all-time low. The Man United game against Fulham, wasn't there a big... my camera's probably froze because of the Poxy Apple thing, but there was a decision that went completely wrong in the Fulham Man United game where should have been a blatant yellow card for a Fulham player, and he just played on.
For a handball. There was a blatant handball. You had it with earlier. And this is what's interesting. I'm actually annoyed it's happened to Arsenal from the perspective of as soon as you come out and speak about it, you get the Arsenal terrorists and you're just defending Arsenal. People are forgetting when I've done it for Chelsea, when I've done it for Liverpool last year. And I'm a Man United fan. And when they got screwed against Spurs, when they got screwed against Arsenal, I had exactly the same amount of energy and exactly the same amount of vim for it. But it was listening to Dermot Gallagher today. Now, I know he isn't an official member of the PGMOL, but listening to his breakdown on Sky Sports, he did, for the Declan Rice one, he did everyone speaks about common sense, but what common sense is following the letter of the law and making sure we do our job properly, because you will moan we don't do our job properly, is what he said. Then when talking about the Will Hughes yellow card, he turns around and goes, well, what the referee did is something that an old colleague of mine, Clattenburg, used to do. When you've done something where you probably should receive a red card, you get told off and told anything else now, even if it isn't a yellow card offense, you're going to go. And you're sitting there going, okay, so he's applied common sense to one of them because he doesn't want someone being sent off. 2 minutes ago, you've said, no, common sense is following the letter of the law. That's my problem with it. They won't even speak about it and be honest. And I think football fans deserve honesty on this. For me, Rice was on a yellow and he's wrong to kick the ball away. However, the sympathy comes in that people kick the balls away, stand in front of free kicks, delay penalties being taken. Goalkeepers time waste loads, get sent off, continue time waste, get booked, continue time wasting, and don't get sent off. This happens so regularly in football. Punishing Arsenal on this particular occasion is mad to me. We saw it last year with the low. Everyone was getting yellow cards for swearing at referees. He swore, and in one tyrant where he swore 2 or 3 times, got 2 yellow cards sent off. Well, I saw Thomas Partey when he got for the pullback use the F word 3 times when talking to the referee. Where's his second yellow? The inconsistencies are crazy. And whatever happens, they bring in a new initiative. And this is about the integrity of the game. They'll bring in a new initiative where they go, do you know what? We're going to start booking people if they take too long to take a throw in, or if they talk back, or if they kick the ball away. They start at the beginning of the season. 2 or 3 teams get punished. And then they go, that was shit. We brought that in. Let's pull it away. So then for the rest of that campaign, the fair treatment isn't there for everybody else. And I understand there's tribalism, and I understand, it's Arsenal, it's happened to, we can stick it to them. We'll blame it on Rice. We'll blame it on the team, and we'll laugh at their fans. All that does is ensure that at some point in the near future, your team is going to get screwed over. The referee is getting no negative attention from his bosses. He isn't being reviewed, and he's not being looked at as if to say, well, why on this occasion, but 2 other times during the game, did you not book players for the same thing, booting the ball away? Dermot Gallagher said, you have to book Rice, though, because unlike booting it 30 yards away, he kicked it out of play. And if the ball's out of play, you can't take a free kick. But you also can't take a free kick 30 yards away from where the foul fucking happened. The problem is that they're just bullshitting to protect themselves. And that for me is more the issue. It doesn't matter that it happened to Arsenal to me or Spurs or Liverpool. My energy is identical. The content on the football terrace proves it. I want there to be as much consistency as possible. So now I want everyone who delays a restart of a game to get booked. But they won't do it. You were going to see it. You saw it. We saw it 20 times after that game on Saturday. Amount of times teams try and take quick free kicks and then the opponent stands in front of it. They're never booked. Why this time? It's ridiculous in my opinion.
Veltman couldn't have took the free kick quick anyway because the ball was moving before Rice even touched it. But it's just bonkers. The refs, so many of these refs try to make the game about them and become the centre of the game. And do you know what? Football's the easiest game in the world, and they just keep making it more and more complicated and stupid. It drives me mad.
I think the funniest thing is that's not even Kavanagh's worst decision this season. He's the same ref who didn't send off Joe Linton for clothesline and Neto.
No, I back him. That wasn't a red card.
Do you know how many English officials are refereeing in the Champions League this year?
None.
Anthony Taylor, probably.
None.
Oh, seriously? Not even Mike Oliver? He didn't even make it? Damn.
It tells you everything you need to know, but I blame us, the fans. I think the fans are the most football. I know Kate might have a go at me for saying this, but I believe football fans are the most culpable in this because we don't put the pressure on. And what I mean is, Arsenal fans are this week. When Liverpool got screwed, Liverpool fans put the pressure on. And I would remember Rebecca. I hope you're watching. Hope you're well. Really big Liverpool fan on socials. Really good writer as well. Really good sports writer. She did this whole thing about we've got to come to when they got screwed against Spurs. She did this whole thing about we've got to come together. We've got to call this out as football fans. And I know her quite well. And I just tweeted back at her and said, but you know when this happens to somebody else that you don't like team-wise, you're going to jump in and banter. No, I promise you that I won't. A week later, something happened to Man United. She's online. Ha ha ha, happened to you now. And I just sent her back her own tweet going, how long did this last? Like 4 or 5 days. And it's all tongue-in-cheek and there's no issues with it. But I actually think if this decision happens first week when the Premier League returns, Chelsea gets screwed over. I think if Arsenal fans stood shoulder to shoulder with Chelsea fans and went, we're going to stand with you and call this out, you would put pressure on the authorities and the media to challenge these things and we could make refereeing better. But they get away with it because 19 other teams laugh and enjoy it. The team that are moaning get looked at as sore losers and whingers and it gets brushed under the carpet. And you get a little interview with Michael Owen and Howard Webb, where Howard Webb just gives these basic answers, and Michael Owen goes, "Thank you for that," and then they move on, and it's never going to be fixed until we as fans actually grow a pair, drop tribalism on this subject matter, and fight. But I don't see that happening. But there we go.
I remember at work last year they made me watch a high performance podcast, and I watched one on a referee. I can't remember who it was exactly, and they always ask someone like, "How do you maintain high performance in your field of work?" And he just went, it was the funniest answer I've ever heard. He goes, oh yeah, basically football fans should just accept that I'm human and I make mistakes because I'm just naturally going to do that anyway. So get over it. And I was like, hang on, that's one of the worst answers I've ever heard. To like,
that's not high performance.
How would you make yourself like the best in your role? And he was just like, I make mistakes anyway, so you might as well just accept it. Because I can't change it, you can't change it. I was like, this is absolutely mental. How can someone actively sit there and be like, oh, I will be bad at my job, but just get over it? Because in any other line of work, you just get sacked.
The thing is, that's a really worrying mentality for them to have as well. Because I think there's some referees that go, well, I can fuck up because VAR will bail me out. But
yeah, there are loads of
every season that goes on, they're trying to pull VAR on less and less decisions and use it on less and less decisions. Therefore, more and more mistakes slipping through the cracks. Like it's such a flawed way of doing it. Why are we?
But even the media outlets. I like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher as pundits. I like a lot of what they say and do. I think they have great fun, great shows, everything else. But when last year, when Nottingham Forest were like really calling things out and they were like, clubs shouldn't be doing this, it's embarrassing, etc., etc. And I'm like, well, Gary Neville, I remember you basically saying that England should boycott a tournament due to the way the FA was treating Rio Ferdinand once upon a time. And I make you right on that because he did get mistreated. But what else are clubs meant to do when they see there's nothing wrong with clubs calling out the inconsistencies. And I think now with technology, I think now with VAR, it is even more apparent. because there should be less mistakes. And me and David are in the same camp on this, I think. When VAR first came in 4 or 5 years ago, I loved it because what it did is it gave 9 times out of 10 the correct decision. You'd see a challenge and go, oh, no penalty, looks like a dive. You'd slow it down and you say, oh, look, he actually clipped the defender, the attacker's leg. They'd change it and go penalty. Now it's, unless it's a clear and obvious error, which they always said it was meant to be. But we don't know what clear and obvious error means because we don't know what the referee has seen. The amount of times now we see, well, that's clearly the wrong decision. Yeah, but they won't overturn it because they don't want to re-referee the game. Then there's no point having it. I want the game re-refereed. If the referee says, no, there was no contact on that foul, it turns out there was, give the foul. I honestly think they got it right by accident the first time round and have gone about making it worse systematically each year. Like offside's great now that they've got it automated. Goal line technology has always worked perfectly, but these subjective decisions, I always look at it and think, sometimes I'm just like, how are you not getting that now? Just because it's only a slight difference to what the referee saw on the pitch. It's the wrong decision. It's crazy.
The part that gets me is to go on about the margin for change or whatever it is and you watch it back and you go, I reckon if the referee saw that again, he'd say he fucked up. So at least give him the chance to. The idea that whenever the referee gets sent over to the screen, he's going to change his decision. I don't like that. I would rather they get sent over to the screen more, but then they're not told in their ear, you got to do this or that.
And this is where they need help as well. So what should have happened with Declan Rice is almost someone in his ear going, what are you about to do? I'm going to send Rice off. Why? Well, I thought he kicked the ball away. He does, but most people do that, mate. I think you should almost have a human conversation in his ear, because I just think that's what he needed. And by the way, to Don Vito, who says, I don't make videos about other teams that get robbed. I do. And they're not very clear screenshots. So I just did it really quickly. But there's 2 just about Liverpool. So just so you know, I 110% do it. You just lied.
Yeah, but Terry, this is the Arsenal terrace. So those videos don't exist.
So Don, who says it, no, you've just been proven wrong, Don Vito. So I expect your apology in writing, please, is what I would like. David was with Don until he said 2 games. Yeah,
it was the whole. He was like, no. It was more than one.
Yeah, that is so funny. Adana got to be benched. He can't make saves at all. He won't be, but maybe you should. How do Chelsea recover from the UEFA rule with hotels? No one knows if they're going to be found. If there's going to be a problem with that yet, so we will see. Osimhen is 200k minimum for a player of his level. I agree. So next time when a player wants to launch a quick free kick to counter, they can just boot the ball to delay it with no yellow card. Then thoughts? No. But what we're asking, it's not about that. That if you boot the ball away, you typically get a yellow card. We agree. But the amount of time people stand in front of free kicks and don't let them get taken and don't get booked is huge. What we're asking for is pick one or the other. Do it every time or not at all. With that logic, Kante wasn't doing anything, Don. Didn't score an assist a lot, did he? Dio says, Don, we are talking about the red card. 6 or 8 is not the question. Chelsea fans are bitter. Talk about the red card. He's already gone. But I did find it funny that he didn't want to mention that. He wanted to go straight into slagging off Rice. Don, are you all right? Whoever compared Rice to Palmer, Smith Rowe, Paqueta, mate, you do so much to start. You do so much, you start to believe it yourself. This is the same guy who protects Enzo and then talks all this about Rice.
Junior says, Don Rice to ESR?
I don't know. Don is a waffler. Declan was actually having a decent game, and 8 can be good at box-to-box crushing like Lampard. Rice had a good season and is proven. Joshua Jack here says, it's funny thing is that Kavanagh was the same ref that the previous week that allowed Joe Linton to clothesline the goalkeeper, and literally Gallagher defended it and said it was just just trying to stop play. But did he get booked?
No, got a yellow. You didn't get.
Oh, you got a yellow. Sorry,
You're right.
I thought he'd got a yellow beforehand, and the referee just sort of let him off on that one.
Oh, I thought he got. If he didn't get a yellow, that's crazy. But I thought it was a yellow.
I didn't watch the game. I saw the incident. And thought straight red. I couldn't believe it didn't happen. But we saw it last year when Maddison punched a player in the stomach, and they checked it when there's no camera angles. I'm like, I'm watching it. What camera angles have you not got?
Go on Sky, hit rewind.
just press it. Yeah, press rewind on the Sky Plus button. It's there. You see him punch him. Arsenal always get favourable treatment from refs. Rice should have been sent off in the first half for that horrible tackle, but only got a yellow.
Nah, wasn't a red.
Nah, it wasn't a red. It wasn't a red. We've run out of time on the show today. We'll cover more of these subjects tomorrow. We're 2 hours in. It's the end of the show. I want to thank everybody who has tuned in as ever, because without you, the Football Terrace wouldn't be what it is. We're closing in on 400,000 subscribers. We were on 390,000 at the start of the show. We have grown by nearly 1,000 subscribers since we have been live. So I want to thank each and every single person that is doing that. We're closing in, as I say, on 400K, which is nothing short of amazing. This video is going to take you through to Hussam and Mo's channel. So go and support the boys over there. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.